Whoa. Interesting. Okay, well, I better guess. Oh, 2 viewers. Whoa. One of them's got to be me, and the other one's probably also me. It's fine with me. Cool. Well, how the fuck do I start? Is anyone in chat? No. 0 viewers. Okay. It's fine. Okay, let's see. Whoa, Steph and Vin are watching. Hi, Steph and Vin. How's it going? You guys might be the first. Unless Dominique is the first. I'm not sure. But welcome to Friends and Family Night. Soft opening. I don't know why my stream manager doesn't show any viewers. It's lying to me. But that's okay. Hi, how are you? You guys ready to do some D&D prep? Can I type in chat? Oh, I can. Wild. I think you are as well. Oh, 3 viewers now. Wow, look at that. Look at that. So the first thing I want to test is just the transition from... Thank you, Steph. I got your text just now. Yes. People. You guys are going to be my only fans this whole time, which I'm totally okay with. I guess first question is, how is the audio? Is it coming through clearly? Are you experiencing any video frames being dropped? Does it look bad in any way? I'm just going to keep talking so you can tell me if anything is wrong with it or not. It's good. Sweet. Okay. Well, check out the microphone. Isn't this awesome? This was actually not that expensive, to be honest. Good. No feedback. Shouldn't be because I got these. But I'm also not listening to myself. I literally have nothing playing at these. They're just on. I don't know why they're on, actually. It's a good point. I don't need them to be on, actually. And I'm not really doing anything that requires music. So, also, sorry that I don't have music. I wasn't able to figure that out before I decided to do this test stream. But if music in the background is something that you guys feel like would make things better, let me know, and I'll probably do it anyway. Oh, hi, Asher. All of my D&D friends are gonna be in this one place, and that's really all I need, you guys. If that's the only viewership I get, I'm totally okay with that. Also, wow, girlfriend in the stream. That feels inappropriate, but I don't mind, so I'm okay with it. I don't think Asher and Dominique, you guys have met, but Asher is awesome. Dominique is okay. Okay, so let's see. Let's get started. Oh, also, another thing is that I didn't set up any kind of compressor or limiter on the sound. So that means that if I end up getting loud, which I don't anticipate, or if I make really loud sounds, you'll just have to deal with it in your earphones. But hopefully that doesn't happen. But if you do get crazy amounts of noise ever, let me know, and I will look into whatever those things are. Um, oh yeah, Asher and I have never played D&D together. That feels like a very, very big hole in our friendship. Like a very big hole. So we're gonna have to fix that. I don't know what the delay is like. I think there's a low latency mode in Twitch where I can reduce the delay between when I see a chat and when you guys see me respond. But I don't know how to turn that on in OBS, so we'll do that later. It's totally fine. Oh, thank you, Vinny. I appreciate that. 20 seconds. That's like a long time, right? Isn't Twitch usually like 7 seconds or something like that? 20 seconds is a long time. Sorry about that. I don't know if there is like a low latency mode in Twitch or something, but I don't see that option in OBS. So, whatever. Hopefully it's not too bad. But I will see if I can get that down. That would be nice if that wasn't as big of a deal. There is a stream delay option in this streaming software, but I wouldn't want to add on to that even more. That would be stupid. Yeah, so I mean, for those of you who don't watch Twitch often, there is always a delay between the streamer and the chat. So usually you'll type something and then I will see it. I don't know if it's you type something and I see it later, or it's most probably actually that you type it, I see it instantly, and then you don't get my response until some number of seconds later. But we'll see. So low latency mode, I'm going to add that to the to-do list. And actually, I think this is a good time to bring up the tool that we're going to spend all of our time in today, mostly, which is to say Notion, which is my favorite tool in the world. And I use it for my whole life. And I will just go to my Twitch streaming dashboard. Oh, you can't see this. Let me pull up the thing you need to see. Hang on. One moment, everybody. Okay, and the to-do list is low latency mode. How do I do that? Cool. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to try to transition, and we're going to go into tonight's D&D prep. And I guess for friends and family, I want to tell you a little bit more about the ethos of the channel if you don't know about it. I think all of you have heard this already, so I'll summarize it for you. Although there are 6 viewers now, which is cool. So let me just assume that some of the people in here are not friends of mine, and I'll just explain it. So the idea with this is honestly just an experiment. I really couldn't care less if there's like no viewers at all. That's totally fine. But the idea is to creatively collaborate with people on the internet, whether that's friends of mine or people that I've never met before, and see if we can create something cool together in the context of a D&D campaign that I run in the real world. So I'm going to be prepping the session that I'm going to run the following day. So I have a session that I'm running tomorrow, and I'm going to be prepping that on this stream. And then on Thursday, I think Thursday or Friday, whatever the schedule says, I will be reviewing what happened, because we all know that what happens in the game can be very different than what the DM preps. So we'll talk about what happened, and then we'll start to prep the next one and talk about what we can do. So the idea is, one, just watch me prep or prep with me. That's what I'd prefer. So I would love your feedback. I love your ideas. I'm going to talk through everything that I'm going to try and do. And I might pause at certain times to be like, what do you guys think? Do you have any ideas? Or I'm just struggling to think of something to fill in here. And I will have my screen shared the whole time so you can see what's going on. Yeah, the other thing is that I want it to be a community of people. So if there are, I just like the fact that you guys are talking in chat and you're having a conversation, because that means that you exist and have a relationship outside of me, which is awesome. And this is just a place which people who like D&D and who want to create D&D and not just watch it being played can come and hang out. So people that have DM'd before, people that are interested in DMing, people that are just playing and want to, you know, observe how the DM process works, that's awesome too. Come and hang out, and we will be creative together. There's going to be a lot of talk, I think, by me of different kinds of creative stuff that we're going to do, different processes, different stages in the development of something creative. So we might have some that are like blue sky and totally open, and any idea is fine, and there's no bad ideas. And then we'll refine it and talk about the actual requirements of that idea, whatever. You'll see what I mean later. So this is a friends and family soft opening. If there's random people here, that's cool. If they're not, I don't care. And we're just gonna do this. And all I want from you guys is participation and some feedback on how the audio is, how the video is, how the process is, and all that stuff. So I also want to point out that Notion is something that I was turned on to by Asher, not even directly, but from like a tweet that he had like a year or two ago, where he was like, oh, hey, this is like my new DM prep tool. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? And then I organized my entire life inside of Notion. So it's amazing. Thank you, Asher. Biggest tool upgrade I've ever had. By Evernote, out the window. So that said, let's go ahead and jump into my DM prep tool, which is Notion. Let's see. Transition, did it work? Did the transition work, everybody? Did we do it? I hope we did it. I'll find out in 20 seconds. So first of all, caveat, if you play in my Wednesday campaigns, if you are one of those 5 people, you totally don't have to watch this, and you should not watch it if you don't want spoilers, because it is all laid out here. Yes, transition worked. Excellent. I figured that out in the last 30 seconds, so great. So just to explain what this all is, I organize it. First of all, caveat, this is not a done dashboard by any means. I just started organizing my D&D prep like this, I don't know, maybe in the last couple months. So there are certain parts about it that aren't really fleshed out. You can see that the NPC section is just a list of names, and there's nothing more deep than that in it. Everything else is up here. But hopefully, if we add more NPCs together, we come up with them, we'll create pages for them, fill in some information, and this dashboard will build over time. Oh, you can't actually see NPCs because the bottom left-hand corner of my screen is totally obscured. How's that? Yeah, you should be able to now. Generally the way that I do this is that I will start with, just looking at my adventure outline. So that's this. It's just a bunch of toggles. I don't know how to collapse all of these, if that's possible, but no, it's not. But anyway, you can see that generally speaking, I have this adventure organized into these levels, roughly. This is kind of what I want to happen in every level. And this is probably a good time to talk about the fact that this is not an entirely homebrew adventure. I know. It is loosely based on Storm King's Thunder, which is a Wizards of the Coast, whatever. You know what? I thought about adding a compressor. I can add it as a filter into OBS, which is the streaming software that I'm using. But when I used a compressor, when I added it and I was doing audio tests yesterday, it didn't seem like it helped at all. My understanding is that a compressor will prevent loud noises over a certain decibel threshold, right? I think I'm asking. And so one, it didn't seem like I was going over and I was clipping that much, but if I am, let me know and I can try out a compressor right now. So you tell me, Miguel, which I'm assuming VYK Migs is Miguel. It will help if I get excited. Well, that's true. That's true. I think there were me and Stephanie, who is in this chat as well, were doing some brainstorming earlier for her character, and I got very excited because I was talking to someone else, and I'm sure that I clipped a lot. I did clip a little bit. Okay. Well, before I change that, let me just change the gain on this. So, whoa, why is the mic gain 0? That makes no sense. Holy shit, I don't think the mic is being used. Is the mic being used? Oh my god, that'd be fucking hilarious if the mic wasn't being used. 1 second. No, it should be used. That's odd. So if I open up the Blue Yeti whatever thing, mic gain is at 0. That makes no sense. Does the audio sound any different now that I've set the mic gain at 45? Is it crazy now or something? That's so weird. I can see in OBS that my mic is... I'm going into the red zone. No, this is not. This is perfect. You didn't derail me at all. This is perfect. This is like what I want to be doing today, is talking to you guys about the audio, the video, the process, all that stuff. This is perfect. Thank you so much for the feedback. No effect. Fascinating. It did have an effect yesterday, and it doesn't seem to have any more. That's so strange. Okay, good to know. Good to know. This does nothing. Sweet. Yeah, if I set audio gain to 0, it should make it so that you can't hear me at all. Because... la. Yeah, no, I don't know. Super weird, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, let's do that. Let's follow the musician's expert advice. So we'll start at 0 decibels. Decibels? Is that what gain is? I don't know. And I'm just going to increase it to 10. And then I'm going to increase it to 20. And then I'm going to increase it to 30. And then I'm going to increase it to 40. And I think I found that 45 was a good level. So you guys let me know if you heard any difference at all in any of that. It's possible that OBS is overriding the mic gain, and I can't actually do anything about it. But right now, the only audio filter I have running at all is a noise suppression to eliminate the background noise. So I don't know that, but you know, as long as I'm not clipping too much, I suppose it's fine. Yeah, weird. Yeah, but then you lose the richness of my voice, you know? Just kidding. Whatever. How's that? Is that still clipping a bunch? I'm seeing it just go into the yellow now. Is it better? Testing 1, 2, 3. It is really hard to just fill time and talk about nothing, especially when you're trying to do audio tests, but I will do my best. I'm going to take I love it as that's fine for now. So I will keep an eye on that and try and figure it out later. So, like I was saying, this is the... Oh, what is the D&D Beyond Interactive Overlay going to be for? Well, it's actually connected, hopefully. It's connected to the D&D Beyond campaign characters that this campaign is about. So in theory, you should be able to turn on the overlay and inspect each of the characters in the campaign. I don't know if that's going to be useful. I don't know if it'll be not useful at all, or if it's just going to be distracting. So if it's distracting and it's annoying, let me know and I'll just turn it off next time. That's totally fine. I just turned it on because it was like an easy one-click option in the setup, which is fine. So like I said, Storm King's Thunder is a book that was published by... Wow, it is really hard to ignore chat sometimes. Oof. Okay. Keep on keeping on. Storm King's Thunder is a published adventure by Wizards of the Coast. And I took the overarching story elements of that. So if you don't know a lot about Storm King's Thunder, well, let me say this. If you don't want to get spoiled, and you don't want... Fuck! Asher! Damn it! Oh, so difficult. So difficult. Maybe it's better that I don't look at chat. No, I can't do that. I have to engage. That's the whole point, right? One day, maybe in about 20 minutes, I will get through this thing that I was going to talk about. So if you don't want spoilers for Storm King's Thunder, aka your DM is going to run it at some point, you are interested in running it, then you should leave, because there are going to be big old Storm King's Thunder spoilers in this. I don't personally think that those spoilers are going to ruin the adventure for you. The adventure is a lot more open worldy and go do whatever you feel like doing, and then maybe there's kind of a story in the background. So the cool part about Storm Kings is, because it is so open worldy, it's really good for the insertion of other story threads throughout the main narrative. So if you look at this adventure outline, by and large, everything that's in here is mostly related to Storm King's Thunder. But there are a couple things along the way that aren't Storm King's Thunder at all that I'm pretty easily able to weave in based on the extra narratives that I want to tell with the players. So, for example, this level 13 outline, which is just a couple of things need to happen. The first thing and the last thing are both Storm King's Thunder quest objectives of some kind. The middle, though, Kegsbane is a character in the story and a player, and he's got a backstory, and he came from a tribe. He's a Goliath. He came from the mountains. And so I thought this is a great opportunity because both of the other locations are, within striking distance or travel distance of where he's from. Great. This is an opportunity for us to go and do something related to his tribe. I don't know what that is yet. We can figure that out together, but that's generally how I've sort of approached the campaign so far. And so levels 1 through 11, which have very little in them, was a similar sort of weaving of stories. So that's the adventure outline. I'll take a look at that really quickly and be like, okay, cool. This is generally where they're going to go. And then I will flip over to the session guides. And this is sort of where the meat of most of the prep happens. This is a table I have in Notion of all of the sessions that I have run since I started using Notion, which looks like in 2019, middle. So obviously we don't play all that often, but I think we average once every couple weeks. Now, with all of this crazy quarantine stuff happening, we are switching the cadence to weekly. So I will simultaneously get more D&D to play and also have something to talk to you guys about and work with you on every Tuesday night and Thursday, because we'll have a session. So that's cool. And I'm just excited to play more D&D in general because I can't get enough of this goddamn game. So each of these sessions is basically what I just call a session guide. This is an incomplete one. Let me show you this one instead. This one is they all have a pretty consistent structure. There are some to-dos I have that are logistics, some things that I want to talk to people about before the session starts, things like rule clarifications, etc. This is an unusually long recap section. I don't know why I wrote it so detailed, but I think it was because a couple of my players were gone, so they could really use that fine detail. So there's always a recap. I'll read off of this as I start, welcome to Dungeons & Dragons, previously on, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll give myself some to-dos from a narrative standpoint. So, directly from the adventure outline, we can say we have to accomplish this, this, and this. Let's put those as to-dos in the session guide, and we'll flesh out the detail there. And then everything after that is just components of the session. And it doesn't always have to work linearly like this. I don't know what my players are going to do, but part of prep is just having something there for me to noodle on in the session, some nugget of information for me to just quickly read and be able to say, cool, I can improv the rest from there. So I try not to over prepare for a session. I don't want to write out everything that could happen and all the different dialogue and whatever. Like, there's a lot of improv involved in DMing, and my goal for prep is to just give myself enough of an outline that I can improvise off of the bones of what I've written. And then the last part is just a recap. This gets added in afterwards, so this is something we would add on Thursdays. This is just a recap of what happened in that session. So the next time we have a session, we can just go right to there, say, okay, cool, this is what happened. Let's pump that into the recap of the previous session. So that's generally how this works. Everything else is just ancillary information that's helpful for keeping track of. World building, open threads that need to get dealt with so I don't forget about them. Trackable quantities is a fun one. That's just like stuff that they have that they're not keeping track of because my players are at various levels of organization. And that just helps me understand and also make sure that they don't try and get away with something weird. So yes, you do have only 595 gold pieces worth of airship supplies. And if you try and exceed that, I'm going to know about it. That might be a scenario where my mic clipped. So we'll see. Anyway, I'm assuming that this is the part where you guys have gotten really bored because all I'm doing is explaining logistics and layout, and probably only Stephanie is interested in this because she's a tool dork like I am. So let's get into the creative part. I'm going to try and do this with as little background as possible, and hopefully things will just uncover about the campaign, about the characters as we go. So let's see. What about the mic? I don't know. I mean, I can't see what you're seeing. I guess I could. I can open. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Interactive overlay. Let's go look at that, shall we? So Twitch, you're gonna see some crazy double imagery here in a second, but I'm very curious as to what this overlay looks like because I haven't looked at it before. Oh, look, it is there. D&D Beyond. Let your viewers. Oh, this is probably not what you guys are seeing. Visible. Add to my channel. Add to my channel. Uninstall. Configure. D&D Beyond. Select a campaign. Storm King's Thunder. Huh. There it is. Save configuration. Okay. I don't know if there's anything else to do. Hopefully, Ben, you can see it now, maybe? Portrait, only show overlay on hover. Yeah, that's fine. Character selection. That's fine. Campaign selection. Okay, I think it's set up. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. I think that there is a general delay always between streaming and chat. That's just something that Twitch, everyone just deals with it. And there might be a little bit of an extra delay for me, and I don't know why yet. We did talk about trying to like mess around with yeah, I can't see it because I'm logged in, but maybe if I go and open an incognito mode window, I'll be able to see this overlay. Oh no, Steph is in the Storm King's Thunder campaign. Oh man, all my D&D players are going to get spoiled, whether they're in my campaign or not. This is terrible. Oh man, you guys are going to hear stuff coming out of my headphones. Hang on. Okay. That's cool. So, cool. Can I click on him? Whoa, what's happening? Whoa. Wow, you can see his whole character sheet. That's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to stop all that crazy shit so you guys don't get your brains obliterated. Okay, so let's do some actual prep work. Lesson number 1 that I've learned that I should write down is that, you know what, let me make a notes document for this as well. I want to take notes on the feedback that you guys are giving me, and or I can just tell. Ooh, that was my mom's Indian food recipe. Sorry about that. Notes. We'll say that talking about logistics and tools can be boring. Don't do it too much. Get to the creative stuff. That's cool. Thank you for that. Already have a note about trying to fix the delay. I have a note about trying to mess with the mic gain and the compressor because that looks like it's all messed up. Oh God. Mic gain and compressor. Okay. Low latency mode. Cool. So let's get into it. If you're still here, I would love for your participation from a creative standpoint. Give me your ideas and get. This is D&D ASMR. Welcome. I can talk. No, it's not close enough. It's not close enough. Sorry, this pop filter is kind of crazy. Honestly, half the reason to do this is just because I wanted an excuse to buy a mic, and I have for a long time, and it was really fun just setting it up and figuring it all out. Ugh, pop filter. I'm not even licking the mic, I'm just licking the pop filter in front of it. But want to see how big of a difference this makes? Look at this. Pop, slam, pop, slam. Pop, slam, pop, slam, pop, slam, pop, slam, pop, slam. It's like a crazy difference. At least I thought it was. Um, eat the mic. Yeah. I know, Asher. But if I eat the mic, then it literally blocks my view of the screen. So I had to experiment with a bunch of different kinds of layouts, and this is just what I ended up. Oh, really? It's possible that with all the audio compression that's happening on Twitch, that kind of stuff doesn't even really register. But I think this will do for now. I can see the screen. I can see that screen. You guys can hear me. Yeah, it's probably the compression on Twitch that makes it not matter very much. I'm just going to assume that it all adds up to very minuscule differences that the human brain can subconsciously notice, and it'll improve it somehow. I don't know. Okay, let's get going. So, a quick recap of where they are right now. I can write out the recap for you. Oh, God. Also, I can talk a little bit about Notion, which I love, but maybe I won't, just because getting to the D&D part is probably what people want to do more. Recap. So this is where it's useful to have the previous session's recap. I can literally just copy paste it into the next session. Great. So where were they when we last left off? There is a, I don't know, not a big bad villain, but like just under a big bad villain, named Duke Zalto. This is a fire giant who has been rampaging, or his minions have been rampaging across the countryside, trying to recover pieces of an artifact called the Vonindod, which is a dragon-slaying colossus. Basically, the idea is Zalto's like, hey, I'm going to go and build this huge colossus, and then I get to have my way with the towns and cities of the small folk, in addition to being able to actually kill a lot of dragons, because in D&D lore, dragons and giants totally hate each other and have for thousands of years. So multiple benefits to having this construct built. And I also assume one of my assumptions in the world is that giants just aren't that plentiful. They've been either hunted down to low populations, or they've been kept in hiding, or whatever. There's just not a lot of them. Maybe really long breeding cycles. Who knows? So Duke Zalto wants to go do this shit. The party has been hired by some king or other to go and figure out what's happening with Duke Zalto at his forge, which is called Iron Slag. This is like, fire giant central on Earth. And so the party went there. They had this really cool exploration inside this huge forge with giant-sized everything. So everything was like, 40 feet high, and all the furniture was 20 feet high, and they had to sneak around and everything. They were very clever. They were able to lure Duke Zalto into a chamber by himself. They did so with his daughter in cahoots with them. So he left his shields behind. He left his hounds behind, his guard dogs behind. And then they turned him into a rat and carried him the fuck out of there, which was awesome. And what a way to completely extricate themselves from all the complexity of trying to fight a boss in his lair with all of his fire giant minions. So they polymorphed him into a rat, took him straight outside of Iron Slag. The druid then took him 1,000 feet into the air and dropped him onto hard ground about a quarter mile outside of the entrance of Iron Slag. He impacted, and that's where we began last session. He obviously is a big bad. He's going to have a lot of hit points. He survives the fall, although he's, at this point, I think only got like 50 of his 180 hit points left. He wakes up, sees the small gnome druid on the ground, gets up gingerly, grabs his stuff. Yes, I can play music during it. I think it's a little bit more complicated to do on Mac because there isn't like a direct input mechanism for the audio that my desktop is generating, but it is possible, and I want to set that up. So I think some like really chill lo-fi type music would be cool to have in the background of this. I don't know. Any suggestions for actual music, send them my way, and I will put them on the stream. They just can't be copyrighted songs because Twitch will object to that. But yeah, I would love to have music on the stream. Sees the druid on the ground and then goes in for the kill. And at this point, the problem is that the party is still way back at Iron Slag. They couldn't turn into a bird and get their way over to where Duke Zalto had hit the ground. So they began this crazy 3-hour trek down from the mountainside to get to where this druid and Duke Zalto are about to do single combat. And very quickly, Zalto gets up, grabs his sword, and just starts wailing on the druid, who is alone, not defenseless, but, not in good shape either. And then that's where shit kind of got crazy. And this whole thing happens within the span of this session, this combat with Duke Zalto. Through some pretty clever stuff and very clutch rolls, they essentially... it's the crazy stuff. They summon a rock, which is a giant bird with 60-foot wingspan. They climb on the back of the rock and fly their way extremely quickly from the mountainside all the way to where Zalto is. In the meantime, he hits the druid unconscious. She's about to die. She's got 2 death saves. One more death save fail, and that was it. And they through a combination of very crazy rolls, got there in time, and then one-shot Duke Zalto in one turn. So the fighter jumped off the rock's back, landed on his shoulders, did a bunch of maneuvers, tripped him up, and then crit on 2 of his attacks, which is crazy. So the guy goes down, and they kill Duke Zalto, which was the best scenario for them, because if Zalto had made his way back to the Fire Giant Forge whence he came, all hell would have broken loose, and the entire, military strength of that establishment would have started to bear down on this party. So things went about as good as they could have. Right at the end there, one of the players used the last amount of distance that the rock had to travel before it poofed out of the air, sent a message back to the king that had hired them, describing what had happened and asked for reinforcements. So that is our first to-do item for this session. And we will start to make a note of that. Cool. I'm glad. I think I'm a little further along in this campaign than you are, Vinny. So feel free to steal any and all things or transmogrify them into your own ideas or whatever works. I think that is such a great use of this, is see where I fucked up and do it better. So to-dos. Number 1 is figure out how the this is what is his name? How the king of I'll figure out his name later, of Citadel Adbar reacts to their call for help. One of the other reasons that they called for help, and something that makes me think they're about to charge back into Iron Slag, is that Iron Slag has a ton of slaves. The giants don't do all of their own work. There are ogres, there are orcs, although I think the ogres are kind of on their side. They're subservient, but still not slaves. But there are orc slaves, there are dwarves, there are elves, there are all kinds of little folk that are totally just, in slavery. They're working the forges, they're working in the mines, they're sorting coal, all the kind of stuff that you would see in a forge is being done by slaves. So they have a moral obligation to do something about all the slaves in Iron Slag. And that's, I think, part of what they're asking help with, because they're we can't take on a fortress of, I think when I looked at the roster for Storm King's Thunder, it was 40 giants plus everybody else in that place. So that would either be 6 months of real world time, them just crawling through this dungeon, or maybe the better thing for us to do is to give them a little bit of a pass and say, King goes, cool, thanks for doing this. Now that you've sort of lopped off the head, we're going to go send in a team or a bunch of teams, or maybe even a little army to go and take care of the rest of what's happening there. I think it probably won't be as simple as that, though, because, just playing out the scenario in my head, if the king sends this army, I could very easily see the fire giants being hey, we're going to kill your slaves, get the fuck away. So that then again necessitates some kind of a D&D party-esque strike team to resolve that issue. The current political state of Iron Slag, now that Duke Zalto is dead, is technically unchanged because nobody knows he's dead yet. It's probably going to take him, I think I gave him like an hour or two before they realized something was up, before they start sending out search teams with dogs and whatever else. But once they figure it out, control will pass to Duke Zalto's wife. And his wife, whose name is... I really don't remember. I want to say Brunhilde, but it's totally not Brunhilde. Whatever. His wife is going to probably take over control. I do need to also figure out, from a character standpoint, what does his wife do with this power? She is now the leader of the fire giants. Or is she? Is there going to be some kind of a, I don't know, like a decision-making process by which they can figure out, hey, okay, there's actually a new leader who's not just the, inheritor of whatever Duke Zalto was trying to do, and then have to figure out what are the ambitions for that leader. I'm tempted, because Storm King's Thunder is not just about fire giants, it's about all the giants, all the 6 kinds of giants, to just say that maybe they're just going to be in political turmoil for a long time, and maybe they'll get it together, maybe they won't, but either way, functionally, for the purposes of this campaign, the fire giants are sort of like out. They've been beheaded. They've been taken out of the arena for now, until something happens that would necessitate their reintroduction into the story. And also that gives my players a sense of achievement. Like, cool, we fucking took out the fire giants. That wasn't our goal necessarily, but they're out of the fight, which is great. Another piece of information to know about Storm Kings is that the overarching story is about how there used to be a hierarchy for giants, just inherently in their society. It was called the Ordning. Yeah, exactly. As convenient for me. Totally. So I don't know if there will be a reason to bring back fire giants. I would suspect that fire giants aren't just going to suddenly disappear from the world. They're still going to be out there doing the things that Duke Zalto ordered them to do. Some of those things might take months. So those fire giants are still out there. They'll still run into fire giants, but there won't be this oh man, Duke Zalto's going to do something crazy. That one's done. So I agree. I think bringing them back as convenient for me would make sense. So yeah, Storm Kings has this ordning, this hierarchy of giant kind, and has been broken. So that hierarchy was enforced by the god of the fire giants. Of the giant kind, their Allfather, and that has been shattered. So basically, their head god, their Zeus figure, was like, I don't like that you guys are resting on your laurels. I'm going to break apart this hierarchy that I have enforced and give every fire giant subspecies, the ability to determine a new ranking in the ordning. So they're all sort of on their own now. Hill giants are competing against fire giants, are competing against frost, against cloud, against storm, against stone. And they all have these grand master plans. So there are sub-villains for each one of these giant kinds, Zalto being the one for fire giants. And that one just gets taken out of contention. And so all the other giant kind are still trying to do their thing and still have their nefarious plans. So that's cool. I don't know where I was going with that, but now you know. So we need to figure out how the king of Citadel Adbar, which is the kingdom that sent them to go do this, they are like the neighboring. You know what? I think a map would be helpful. Let's go to the map. Okay. I don't know if there's a way to zoom in on this here. Full screen. There we go. So this is the map. Oh, God. Sorry. So this is the map of what I think is called the Savage North. This is where the majority of Storm King's Thunder takes place. And Iron Slag is circled here because it's a very significant location that they've just dealt with. And Citadel Adbar, which is a stronghold of the dwarves, is pretty close by, about 100 miles or so away. So they've dealt with that threat. Citadel Adbar now needs to deal with it on their own, presumably, depending on what the party does. Now, we also have to prepare for the possibility that the party decides, no, fuck that, we're going to free the slaves on our own. And Fortunately, I think that is already pretty well prepped. The reason for that is because, do I have it here? I honestly don't know where it is, but I literally printed out all of Iron Slag, and I printed out like 30 different maps. It was a terrible waste of paper. I feel very bad. But let me see if I can show you Iron Slag. So I have a PDF version of Storm King's Thunder here. Just for any copyright issues, I own Storm King's Thunder, the book, so I don't feel bad for having the PDF. I don't send it to very many people. So I think we should be okay. But this is Storm King's. And again, this even showing this on the stream might be against the rules. But I'm going to run with it for now. And if I get sued by Wizards of the Coast, then we won't do that anymore. So let's go to Iron Slag. There it is. Oh, you know what? It's actually not going to be in that section because it's like such a big part of the campaign that it's got its own section called Forge of the Fire Giants. Also, one thing I like to do is in my books, I like to just highlight a bunch of shit so that when I'm looking at it on my iPad during the session, I can just see, okay, cool, here are the very quick things that I need to know about. But we came here to look at a map, so let's do that. Is there a page? Hey, page down actually works. Okay, cool. So this is the upper level of Iron Slag. It has 2 levels, which makes it kind of a confusing dungeon to run. And this is all already prepped. So I printed this out. It's ready to go. I'm not going to walk through this whole dungeon with you guys unless it becomes relevant. But it's a pretty big complex. Each one of these squares is like 10 feet. So you can imagine the scale at which they have to travel just to traverse this dungeon complex. Generally speaking, the slaves are over here. This is like a slave wheel. Each of these planks is being pushed by a slave or a number of slaves who are kept in pens over here and blah, blah, blah. So they're going to have to get back into the main entrance, which is right here, and find a way to get over here. And either fucking just run train on all the giants if they can, which seems difficult and possibly a suicide scenario, or they're going to have to sneak their way through Iron Slag, get to the slaves, and get like 40 slaves out without anybody noticing. Chances of success are very low. So this is actually one of my favorite parts of the game is, I don't actually know what a good solution is. Oh, really? That's funny. The maps are freaking fantastic. I mean, the level of detail is super cool. This is like a scanned version, so the contrast isn't even good, but the actual map in the book is beautiful. And so totally makes sense that it would be used. I think this is probably also floating around the internet a bunch. Let me see if I can find the second page at the lower level. I don't know why they put them so far away from each other. There we do. This one gives you a little bit better of an idea of what's going on here, which is that here is that giant construct. It's actually only its upper half that exists within they're still trying to pull all the rest of the parts together from the world, which somehow are scattered everywhere, or they need to forge it, I think. So they use this forge. But anyway, whatever. Doesn't matter. So this is all prepped. I know how to run this, and if they go in, we'll just see what happens. So maybe it's worth thinking about what are some things that they might do, and maybe you guys can help me figure that out. And then also, what happens if they leave Iron Slag? So what happens if they leave Iron Slag? What happens if they decide to go in and free the slaves? And then let me go back to the adventure outline to share with you guys sort of the larger picture of what they're trying to do. So these 2 things, Beer Run as well and Great Worm Cavern, are part of a 9-part quest that they are on. So the backstory for this is, and I can pull up a nice little visual, I think. Harshnag's map. Yeah, this looks good. Where is it? Here we go. Okay. So this map is sort of defines their current place within Storm King's Thunder. They went to an oracle, which is just some disembodied voice that told them, I will tell you why the ordning was broken and how you can fix it. So basically, this is like the penultimate quest, essentially. But you have to go and do, like, this is a very stereotypical fantasy trope, but like, you have to go get these 9 things for me. You know, be my carrier bitches. So these are all Uthgard burial mounds. Whatever. They're just locations in the world where there are some artifacts, some MacGuffin is hidden, and they have to go there and get it. So these aren't that interesting, honestly, by themselves, but they are cool because they sort of mean that they have to run all around the world, this part of the world, and that is a very convenient way to insert player backstory moments. So like I said before, each of my players has a backstory, and I have then extended that backstory to include more narrative that they don't know about. So what they started with and what they gave me, which were awesome, either like short stories or just like snippets of where their characters came from and who the important people were and what the important locations were. I then took that, figured out, okay, here's a cool story we could tell that is centered on this character, and then wove them in the narrative. So the idea being that on a rotating basis, every character will have their day in the sun. It is the time to go and do the quest of this character. So by having them run around the Savage North looking for these burial mounds, I can also then stop and say, okay, this is a good time for us to inject a player narrative. So Bjorn Well is right here. Great Worm Cavern is right here. Those are the 2 things they have to do at this level. I think for context, Iron Slag is like here, and they've done 1 stone already. So they're like, the most obvious path is for them to go here. I don't know if I can draw. Maybe I can draw. This is useful to know. You know, it'd be really nice to be able to draw on my screen without having to make destructive edits to these documents, but I'll figure that out later. So actually, that's a good note, is how can I write on my screen in a way that's not tied to a particular application, but that I can just sort of use as like a whiteboard. So anyway, they're going to go this way, right? And I'm thinking that somewhere around here is a good opportunity for us to go into the lore of Kegsbane, who is a Goliath from that part of the world, which is called the Spine of the World. And his whole backstory is he was part of his tribe. Goliath tribes are very combative, not with each other, but they believe in contests. They believe in strength. They believe in youthful vigor. So as he began to get older and became less useful to the tribe, he found himself without a place there. So it's very sad. I think the lore says that Goliaths, a lot of them end up dying when they're older just because they have nothing to do, they have no purpose, and they get sort of excommunicated by their tribe for being physically useless, which is terrible. So, you know what? I also say too much. That's a good one. Let's write that one down, everybody. Don't say so much. Just think faster. Don't use it as a filler. It's fine. So if I say I will donate $500 to the nearest charity. I won't. I don't have that kind of money. But you can catch me on it if you want to. So, wow, I really wanted to say This is hard. Hey, we have 10 viewers. That's cool. That's nice. Okay, so again, if you have any questions on this or you have an idea of what could happen, let me know. I'm going to start and I'm going to stop and put a sort of a call for ideas out in a second, and we can talk about different things. Yeah, added to our $5 touch your face pot. Well, I would lose right now in touching my face, But I think our game only... So me and my girlfriend have a game, which is that if you touch your face while you're outside of the house, because of this quarantine stuff that's happening, you owe the other person $5. So, Hi, Nephilim. Do I know you in person, or are you from the wider internets? You can let me know. Anyway, feel free to lurk. Welcome. So this is really exciting because I love player narrative stuff, and I love getting into their backstory and making them feel like the thing that they wrote for me 2 years ago is totally coming back into play, and I haven't forgotten about it. I wish it didn't take that long, but sometimes it does. What happens between Great Worm Cavern and Bjorn as well is that Kegsbane totally left his tribe because he recognized, hey, you know what? I'm just too old. And I need to leave. So he left and he went and actually fought for a dwarven kingdom where he met the father of another player. We'll talk about that later. That's a whole thing. But I think it would be kind of cool if he had to reassociate himself with the tribe that he left intentionally. And it's interesting for a couple of reasons. One is that how will they react to an older Kegsbane coming back? Do they have anything to offer him that's cool? I have an idea for that. And what does that adventure look like? What do they have to do? I don't know what that means yet. I just have this little tidbit that I've had in my adventure outline forever, which is do something with Kegsbane's tribe. I don't even have a name for the tribe. So we can figure all that shit out. So let's start brainstorming that because I think that's useful. Frankly, I think everything that's going to happen, they're going to go to Beer Run as well first. Of course they are, because it's closer. As we saw from... Oh, did I kill the preview? I totally killed the preview. Sorry. Luckily... Oh, I was really excited. I was like, I have Beer Run as well prepared, guys. I have a page for it. There's nothing there. At all. Oh, well. So, Beer Runs well encounter, so we got to prep that. And maybe start thinking about what Kegsbane's tribe is all about. So, for those of you who are listening, if you have a preference for what you want to talk about, we can brainstorm a little bit on what Kegsbane's tribe is about and what that adventure could be. I think that would be a really exciting brainstorm to do. We could also talk about Beer Run as well, which is one of the burial mounds that they have to go to. Less interesting, or maybe just less scope on that one, so that might be a good choice as well. But let's go back to the session guides. So, potentially, BO Run as well. I think I have a page for this already, so... The magic of Notion, we can just mention it. And then, what is Kegsbane's tribe adventure even gonna be like? Vote for tribe. Done. We're doing that one. Thank you, Vinny. Let's fucking do it. Okay, so I need to maybe pull up Kegsbane's backstory as a refresher. Let's do that. So OneNote is what I used to use before. Notion is 100% better. Sorry, Microsoft. Sorry, my sister, because she works for Microsoft. But Notion fucking slays OneNote. Slays it. Oh my God. It's not even close. It also might be because I'm using the Mac version. But whatever. Do I think Notion will sponsor my Twitch stream? I can only hope. I can only hope. I might be the only person streaming Notion on Twitch. There's not even a category for Notion on Twitch because it's not a game. But I could make one. We made a category for Emoji Charades, which is the game that my company builds. Okay, so... Nope, this is the wrong campaign. I'm so sorry if you saw anything in here. Oh no! Wow. Vinny, you play in that campaign. Ignore everything you just saw. Or close your eyes or something. That was dangerous, spoiler-wise. Okay, so story planning. Isoase story. Okay, so Kegsbane is not his actual name. Kegsbane, this is a cool part of Goliath lore. Goliaths have names that they change every some number of years in their life. typically is associated with major milestones in their life. So the last time we had Kegsbane change his name, he was like a recovering alcoholic. He like had no purpose. He couldn't figure out what to do with his life. He was drinking a lot. And so he called himself Kegsbane. That was not always his name. He used to be called Bloodcaller before that, when he used to fight in a war. Before that, I don't even remember what he was called. But I think we have that somewhere. Where is it? Not here. Bowden's story, Kelp's story. This is a different character entirely. Posey Thorn. Nope, 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 nope. What the heck? We don't have it? We might not have it. That's fine. We're just going to make it up. Yeah, shit. Oh, this is the original adventure outline that I had built. This is what the outline looked like for levels 1 through 11. I didn't transfer all of it over to Notion, but it's there. Man, where is it? All right, sorry, we don't have his backstory for some reason. Or is it in here? Nope. That's okay. I'll find it later. Damn. Okay, well, one note. Once again, you were totally useless to me. All right, let's talk about Kegsbane's tribe. So, because this is a narrative thing for the players and not really related to the Storm King's Thunder story, we're going to go and look at his particular page. So this page is just everything about Iso Ase, or Kegsbane, however you want to call him. Now, a little bit of background on this guy and the reason that there's a wolf in the cover photo. Like I said, he had a rough time after his service in a war that he had really nothing to do with, other than the fact that he was a great warrior and he was friends with someone else's father. So he had a great time in that war, was called Bloodcaller, kind of got a little bit too into the whole killing other people thing, and then totally fell out of sorts, fell off the wagon. And that's when he became Kegsbane. And I guess he felt like, well, this is my name now. Fuck, you guys, I'm going to name myself after the beer tankards that I get lost in all the time. Then we started the campaign. That was the point that he was at. And part of what had happened, we needed to find a redemption arc for him because he started low, and we needed to bring him back up to, no, you can be a hero. So that first arc has already happened, and the way that manifested was twofold. One is it literally changed his class, in that he multi-classed to Warlock. And the reason that he multi-classed to Warlock is the second part of that, which is I essentially cursed him. And part of his backstory is that Goliaths have to go through some kind of a ritual when they come of age. They have to go kill something out in the wild to prove their physical strength. So we leaned into that, and part of the backstory that the player wrote was that there was a great wolf in those mountains that he had to kill. And so he went out there, and this feels really familiar. I'm sure like this is, I think 300. I think this is 300, where the king of Sparta, Leonidas, has to go and kill a wolf when he's a kid or something like that. I seem to remember something like that. Anyway, it's very similar. So sometime in his past, he goes and kills this wolf. And my idea was, well, how about this wolf has a spirit? And that spirit has been watching over Kegsbane this whole time. And when he falls off the wagon, he gets disappointed. And he feels like, listen, this is shit. What are you doing? Like, you killed me to prove yourself, and now you're taking all of that proof and throwing it out the window and doing nothing with your life. So Nitonus, which is the name of the wolf, manifested himself physically to Kegsbane and said, hey, I can give you power. You have a destiny. You have a hero's call. But I'm only going to give it to you if you get your shit right. If you stop drinking, if you show that you are more than just a bloodlusty killer, show that you are more than what you have been before. So He used to be, just a simple Goliath, then he used to be a Goliath trying to prove himself to the tribe. Then he became a guy who just wanderlust. Then he became a warrior who was all about killing. And then he became a drunk. And now he's got to become something more. So that's what this was about. So it was an arc. It involved other characters. I thought it was really fun to play. And the end result was that Nightonus saw the effort that Kegsbane put in to improve himself, essentially became his warlock patron, and gave him magic powers. And the way that those manifested is also a cool play on Goliath lore that the player came up with, which is that Goliath naturally have markings on their body. And those markings are like twists of fate. They like determine the destiny of the Goliath. So it's like a really big, scary thing to mess with fate or destiny because they believe that kind of thing is fixed. But when Nightonus gave his powers to Kegsbane, he manifested them in the tattoos. So instead of splotchy markings all over this Goliath's body, there are now runes and arcane writings and crazy patterns and structures of ink that have formed in those markings across his whole body. And when he casts a spell with his newfound power, those markings actually light up and become the source of the spell, which is a really, really cool visual. And I loved everything about that. Mechanically speaking, if you're familiar with D&D, it's like a warlock, Pact of the Tome being his own body. How fucking cool is that? I think it's actually celestial is what Nightonus counts as from a mechanical patron standpoint. So that gives him certain abilities. We don't have to go into it, but it's pretty fucking cool. So the next stage of Kegsbane's journey is, okay, he's fixed himself. In fact, he probably shouldn't even be called Kegsbane now. So maybe one of the cool things that can happen is that he gets a name change. And for the first time in the whole campaign, which this campaign has been going for about 2 years now, we will call him something totally different. So I'm going to turn this into a toggle. And we're just going to drop all of this into that toggle so that we don't see it anymore. I like having a clear head. So reuniting with his tribe. I can spell tribe. So if you got ideas, throw them out at me. But essentially what we have to do is we have this warrior who has fallen and then come back even stronger. He's got magic powers now. He feels more responsible. Thanks for staying, Ben. It was great to have you. Thanks for the feedback. And I'm glad the overlay worked. So we have this guy who's come back, and now he's got to go deal with his past, which is always a cool thing for a character who's made strides forward to go and do, is that we all have a past, we all have something we need to deal with, and he can't just look forward. Life is never that easy. Of course, we could put something in front of him, and the player decides, fuck that, bye, and just totally goes the other way. That's very possible, but our job is to just put something interesting, a hook, in front of the players and hope that they grab it. So question number 1 is, what is that hook? I don't know. It might also be useful to talk about what do we want to get out of this, or what do we want the player or the character to get out of this interaction? Or in other words, from a narrative standpoint, what is the actual value of going and colliding with your past after you have made strides forward? One thing is just a mechanical thing, and this was the only idea I've had so far, is that I come up with this random mechanic where he has a sword. It's a very special giant slaying sword, and when you kill a giant with it, you get a rune. My idea was, well, as part of an incentive to go and reunite with this tribe, his tribe has discovered a way to use these runes to enhance magic items. So if you're familiar with RPG mechanics in video games, this is going to be something like gemstone enhancement. So if you've got a sword, it'll have like 3 slots or something, and you can put these giant runes into that and it'll do something. So maybe the simplest examples are you add a fire giant rune into a sword and it gets fire damage. If you add a hill giant rune into a sword, it gives you advantage on strength checks or something. That's super imbalanced, but you know what I mean. So from a mechanical benefit standpoint, let's write that down. We have giant rune mechanic. And the idea here, generally speaking, is that, you know what, we turn this into a header as well. TH2, great. Giant runes. Okay. So I haven't fully fleshed out how this works, and I would love to hear some ideas about how it could work. But the general idea is giant runes can be accumulated and then crafted by someone in the tribe, maybe like NPC here, maybe like an old crone Goliath, who has really only proven her value because she can do shit like this. She's like magical, or maybe she's like an elder that leads the tribe or whatever. It kind of flies in the face of the whole Goliath don't like old people thing, but whatever. Old crone who has magic powers, or who has the ability to they get a rune every time they kill a giant, so if they use a sword on him. So I like the idea of having to pay a certain number of runes to get an enchant, essentially. So the real, like basically this lady's gonna be like, here's a menu, and the menu has really expensive enchants that are very good and really shitty enchants that are minorly beneficial but cost less runes. So old crone who has the ability to enchant items using the power within giant runes, and then generally speaking, provide a menu of item/body enchants that range from high cost, high reward, down to low cost, low reward. Cool. So that's very nice. And I think will be I think it's important to provide players with like a fun extra mechanic on top of what the game provides, just because you want every campaign to feel different, and you want the players to have cool new things that they have access to that they didn't before for progressing through the story. So obviously some of that is class abilities that they just get when they level up, but also this is like tied to the world. This is, if they never went here, they would never have discovered that this is a thing. And that's okay. Like maybe they won't take the bait, and maybe they'll never find out what the giant runes are used for. And that's how it goes sometimes. And you have to be okay with that. You kind of have to be willing to, and it's not kill your babies, but it's like let your babies die on a, empty road that nobody visits. I don't know. It's very sad. But you have to be aware of that. So that's the mechanical benefit. The narrative benefit is maybe he gets a new name. Maybe this is validation of his growth provided by the tribe. This would be cool because it'd be unexpected, right? A tribe that you'd left because you didn't have a purpose within anymore, actually gives you validation and says, you're fucking awesome. You're amazing. You're a son of this tribe and you've done awesome things. Would be a really cool positive validation for all of the trials and tribulations that this person has gone through, which is pretty cool. So that is one thing we could do. I think it would be really cool also to come up with some possible names, but I also want to let that come from the player as well. I think that he decided Kegsbane, he decided Bloodcaller. I think he should get to decide his own name as well, his next one. But how cool would it be if this old crone was like, oh my God, you're amazing now. Also, here's your new name. It's blah, 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 and it's like something really cool. But no, we will practice discipline. We will allow them to come up with the name. Or maybe I'll ask. You know what? I'm going to ask. Let's do this. So we'll add a to-do section. You're going to notice that all of my prep is like filled with unfulfilled to-dos. Sometimes because they're not relevant anymore. Sometimes because I just never go around with them. So ask player if... I almost typed the player's real name. Oh my God, sorry. If they want to come up with the new name or if they want it to come from the narrative. Cool. What other narrative benefits? I'm glad you like the rune mechanic. That's cool. I don't know where that came from. I feel like it might have come from Sean McGowan's Storm King's Thunder Guide. I'm not sure exactly, but whatever. I've twisted the concept. Now it's mine. So this is sort of where like the deeper thinking is required. A new name is cool, sure, but it's also got to be a struggle, right? Going back to your old tribe that you had left. One, I would imagine they're going to be like, why are you here? You know, so like questions I don't know if this is a narrative benefit, but thanks, Asher. Bye. This is not a benefit, so we'll call this something else, but, just things that will happen, probably. I don't have a better name for this yet. But things that will happen. First of all, tribe will wonder why he's come back. But you know what? That's actually not a great way to approach this, because he'll just be like, I don't know. I don't know why I came back. Bye. In fact, the only reason he's going to approach this tribe in the first place is because we give him a reason to. And he's not going to necessarily know about the runes, although we could set that up. We could have the runes be the entire impetus for his discovery or rediscovery of his tribe. We could, put him in touch with an NPC that says, ooh, you've got these runes. That's cool. Do you know what to do with them? No? Well, I know that, I've heard tell of a Goliath tribe in the mountains that has turned these into amazing things. That could be the reason that he goes back. I would like to think that there is something a little stronger of a motivation for him to go back, something that actually tugs on character motivations. So not just, I want cool loot, but also, not that's not a good reason, but also, what do you mean? Just depends on the player, how much they contribute. Yeah, that's true. I see what you mean. Like, they might just be the kind of player that grabs every hook thrown at them. And this player is a very magic item hungry person. So it could be enough. But I think it would be cool if, the most obvious one, right? The most obvious moral hook is the tribe is in danger. And on the road from destination A to destination B through their lands, he discovers a Goliath that is in trouble, saves them, and then hears that, oh man, the tribe is in peril. I think that is probably the most obvious thing to do. And I would love to hear alternative ideas as well. And then, then the giant runes and the name sort of become, okay, like, this is your reward for helping these people out, even though you didn't really have to. And it's not technically connected to the, main story of the thing. So let's see here. Let's just call it the hook. The hook. Do you completely cater to each person or push them outside their comfort zone somewhat? Both. I'd like to think. To be honest, I don't know if I think about it quite that clearly. Maybe I should. But it's a balance, right? Like, people have preferences of how they want to play and what they want to do. And I try and gauge what those are or ask them explicitly what they are. But I also feel like it's fun for me as a DM to poke at things that their character, ways in which their character could grow. Because that's an opportunity for the player to either like double down on who they are or spring for an opportunity to change their character. Is that kind of what you meant? Because pushing them outside their comfort zone somewhat. Yeah, I mean, as a player, I hope that I'm always pushing them outside their comfort zone, at least in terms of, the kinds of mechanics they see, the kinds of characters they have to deal with, read the room. Yeah, sure. I mean, but it's all optional, right? Like if this hook is too far outside of the player's comfort zone, they have the ability to ignore it. I suppose one issue is if you put a moral hook in front of them, then it makes them feel like a bad person if they, or, if their character is good, it makes them feel like they're betraying their character's alignment to actually ignore that hook. So I could see how, the character needs to go this one way, but the player kind of doesn't want to go that way, but they feel like they have to because that's what the narrative is demanding of them. That's possible, honestly. I think that it is possible to see at the table itself how interested they are in that or not. And then you can make a judgment call as a DM. You can say, I can tell this player isn't really into this, and you can find ways to, in the moment, dial it back. So I think there's a lot of D&D that happens at the table. It's decided there. And based on, like you're saying, read the room, based on the reaction that I get from my player, if I put this hook in front of them and they're going along with it, but they're like, all right, I guess I have to go fucking save this tribe or whatever. I can scale it back. I can be like, you know what? It wasn't really that big of a deal. Maybe the Goliath that they find isn't going to tell them that, hey, or it resolves itself, and then they don't have to do anything about it. It is challenging though, because unlike in a linear narrative where you just figure everything out beforehand, there are certain decisions that I can't make until I put it in front of the players. So will they like this direction? Maybe. And if not, you just have to be able to pivot. And sometimes it's not even worth thinking about all the different possibilities because you get really caught up in the paralysis of potential. Haha, I coined a term, the paralysis of potential. All I mean is that you could prep every single possibility. You could even prep 3 possibilities, but that's a lot to prep. And I think what's better is that you set up a scenario for the players and then you see what happens when they get there. And based on that, you have a bunch of pieces that you can play around with and move around and adjust at the table. And you do that. So if a character needs to change, the character will change. If the adventure hook needs to change, the adventure hook will change. And a lot of that just happens on the fly. So maybe they will get to this session, although I doubt it. They'll probably get to it 1 or 2 sessions from now. They get there, they're not that excited about it, and we come back here on Thursday and figure out, okay, that didn't work. They didn't want that. What do we do next? How do we modify it so that they can safely ignore it? Or that it's more interesting to them. And sometimes I'll go and talk to the player and be like, hey, this doesn't seem like what you wanted to happen, or this doesn't seem like the direction you want your character to go. What is interesting to you? And then I will either transmogrify what I had planned to fit that, or jettison it and put something new in. So you figure it out as it comes. So that said, let's go with this hook for now, unless anyone's got an idea for another hook, and we'll go from there. So the hook is they find a young injured Goliath. It would be cool, I think, if this Goliath... I'm just typing what I'm saying. It'd be cool if this Goliath was also on his own, ritual rite of passage. So on his own hunt, aka rite of passage. What is he hunting? I don't know. Could be another direwolf. That'd be fun. Let's go find a monster. Because maybe they find him mid-combat, which would be really, really cool. So we'll go to Handy Dandy D&D Beyond, and we're going to start looking for a monster for this young, poor Goliath to be losing terribly to. And this will be interesting because it'll be like, well, does Kegsbane help him? And sort of mess with his rite of passage a little bit? Or is the fight kind of... I think it better is if the fight is kind of over, that this Goliath is about to die. And if Kegsbane doesn't intervene, he dies. And, he absolutely has the option to let him die, and that's totally fine. But it's an interesting situation. It's also something that they can, see from a canyon away or something. They're like, we got to get there now or whatever, So, monsters. I love D&D Beyond. It's extremely helpful because they have put all of the game's stuff here. And we're looking for something in the Arctic environment. And we're looking for something that I think probably is pretty weak. So challenge rating 3. If you don't know what challenge rating is, because you haven't DM'd before, challenge rating is basically just a number that signifies the difficulty of a monster to kill. The number specifically, it refers to how basically a monster that would be a decently difficult fight for 4 players of that level. So a level 3 challenge rating monster is a monster that 4 level 3 characters should have a decent time fighting. Should for sure kill it, but not be super easy. So I think it'd be cool if this guy was sort of taking on something that he chose poorly, his target. So let's filter those monsters. I think also probably filter it by beast, aberration, elemental. That'd be cool. And giant. That'd be funny. What else? A monstrosity for sure. Those are the monsters. Anus? No, maybe not. Okay, that sounds good. So what do we got? We have not that many. Cool. We want something big and threatening, something that feels like it can really bear down on this guy while he's sort of in the throes of death or whatever. A brown bear, lame. A bloodhawk seems cool. Is there a picture? No, there's no picture. Taking its name from some feathers and aggressive nature, the bloodhawk fearlessly attacks them. This is pretty cool. It's weak, but I can level it up. Just tweak up the numbers to make it cool. So we're going to open that in the tab. Carrion ogre. What the hell is that? A creature that has the body of an ogre and the head of a carrion girl. That seems really specific to Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage. I'm not going to use that. Cinderhild. That's the daughter of Duke Zalto. It's cool. Gara. I don't know what that is. Some Eberron stuff. I don't have that in D&D Beyond. Any monsters look interesting to people? So we have a giant owl. We have a griffin. Ooh, a griffin could be cool. I like that. A ferocious avian creed carnivore with the muscular body of a lion, the head, 4 legs, and wings of an eagle. That would be pretty cool. I also like that all of these monsters are totally just, easily killable by a level 13 party, which is what these folks are now. By the way, I just want to say, for everybody who's stuck around so far, thank you so much for just showing up and giving me some feedback on how all of this is going. Please continue to do so. So if audio, video issues, but also importantly, how this is going. How could this be more interesting? How could this be more collaborative or creative or, whatever. Thank you also to everybody who's put in chat an idea or a question or, thought critically about what I'm talking about here, because that stuff really sparks new ideas, and that's very, very helpful. I really love that part of creativity, is like someone else is thinking along a totally different path than you are, and the sort of intersection of those two minds are where a new idea is created. I think that's fucking awesome. So thank you for doing that. Half ogre, cool, but not super exciting. Mephits are too small. Oh, you know what? There's a size filter. That's cool. Oh my god, Google autocomplete, you're killing me. We should have it at least be a medium creature. Probably more like large, frankly. It'd be pretty funny, though, if he was... You know what? Never mind. It'd be pretty funny if he was about to get killed by, like, a really tiny monster. Ice Mephits are very small, but I don't think they really have the... They don't really say aggressive. Thank you, Vinny. See you later. A Manticore. Fuck yeah. In fact, there was a Manticore den, a Chimera den? No, a Manticore den, in that rock face that the party was climbing to get up to Iron Slag. So they've already sort of got it on the brain, and I think it would be cool. Manticore has a vaguely humanoid head, body of a lion. You know what? There's a picture here, so I'm just going to show it to you guys. Fuck yeah, look at that thing. That thing looks wicked. That doesn't say I'm going to bear down and kill you. I don't know what does. It's got 3 rows of teeth. Gross. Imagine trying to make out with that thing. Ugh, it's rough. Okay, Manticore, very good option. Ogre, again, kind of boring. Polar bear, that's exciting. That's pretty cool. I know it's just a bear, but fuck, polar bears are dope. Saber-tooth tiger, nah. Winter wolf. I think wolf, that was Kigsbane's thing. We can't do that again. A Yeti? The fuck? Yeti are hulking monstrosities that stalk alpine peaks in a ceaseless hunt for food. I mean, wouldn't it be cool also if there was a sword embedded in the ice next to him and he was like trying to reach for it, but he couldn't get it, and then all of a sudden, the sword comes to him because the players help him or something? Star Wars-y like that? I don't know. Okay. We've got some options. Zoltember is a Storm King's Thunder character, actually. Okay, so we've got Bloodhawk, Griffin, Manticore, Polar Bear, Yeti. Is there like a software that can tile all of these for me? Bloodhawk. I don't know why I did this. This is stupid. Son of a bitch. Okay. Oh, that's useful. So, hi, I vote Yeti. Boom. Any other votes? Say it now, hold your peace. Also, hi, Mike. Nice to see you here. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Also, the cool thing about the Yeti is this chilling gaze feature, which essentially has you make a saving throw or you get paralyzed for a whole minute. So, what would be awesome is if they come across this Goliath and he is like in the last throes of paralysis and you can see him go, help, or whatever, and like he's like just literally turning to not stone, but cold ice. Chilling gaze. It must be ice. Yes. I like this. Let's do that. A Yeti it is. And we're just going to close everybody else. Sorry, Bloodhawk. You seemed cool, but whatever. He is about to be killed by a Yeti. I'm going to link to Yeti for my convenience later. The Yeti has him in its paralyzing gaze, and he just has time to shout out to the party for help. Sweet. So, obviously they're going to, well, okay, not obviously, but hopefully they try and, rescue this young Goliath. And when they do, he's got to have a name. Goliath names? Let's look up Goliath names. If you got a suggestion for a Goliath name, let me know. Goliath, if you don't know, are large, half-giant type people. They are a race. and they live in the mountains, and they look like that. So names. Goliath names. Hey, look at that. And see, they have birth names, which is what they're born as, and then they have nicknames that they take on when they, do certain things in their life. So this one, we should come up with both of his names, his birth name and his nickname. And oh my god, we don't have a clan name for Kegsbane. There's a to-do if I've ever heard of one. Ask player what his clan name is. I think he did give me a last name when he wrote his backstory, so if I can dig that up, I will find it, and that'll just be the clan name. But birth name, Pavu sounds. With these names, I always like to, it's like a name that feels like the character. So in this case, it's a young Goliath. He's in danger. He's trying to prove himself. So a young sounding name would be good. Pavu struck out to me. I'm just gonna go with that. His name, or his birth name, is Pavu, but his given name, we'll say, his chosen name. It'd actually be cool if you were given your name when you were young, and then after you passed your rite of passage, you could choose your name. Oh, I like that, because also now we can tie the players into the narrative arc. The narrative arc of this young Goliath. And hopefully, by the end of this story arc, they can watch this young Goliath, young Pavu, complete and redo his rite of passage and choose his own name. And it would be really cool if he drew inspiration from the party, because I always like having lasting impact on the world. I think it's really cool when players do something in the world that then sticks. So a couple things that can stick with this one are, one, you really influence the life trajectory of this young, impressionable person. You can win an ally, and that's always cool because allies can then come up later as characters that come back and say, "I'm going to come help you with your final battle," or whatever, or help the characters in some other way. And also just like the, what mechanical benefits does it have to help, this young person? I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe the first most obvious one is, let me tell you about what the tribe is up to, bro, and how you can benefit from these runes. So his chosen given name. I'd like to say that it's the given one. So Bear Killer, Dawn Call. These all sound too cool for a kid who's trying to prove himself, don't you think? Twice Orphaned. Oh, God. It's harsh. It's like your name. Like, hi, orphan. Wow. It's rough. Twisted Limb. What does that mean? Does it mean like, oh, man, I twisted my ankle. Now my name is Twisted Limb? It's kind of fucked up. Word Painter. It's cool. I'm like torn between going super goofy on this one and being like, the adults in the tribe just like made fun of this kid and called him, booger farts or something like that, versus, no, I mean, it's his name, so they'll give him something aspirational. So let's go with aspirational. What are some aspirational names for a young Goliath? I suppose it comes down to what he's trying to do. So he's trying to prove himself. Dances with Wolves. I like that. Also a great movie. I'm just kidding. I haven't seen that movie. It's a movie, right? I don't know. He's trying to... But, I do like Dancer because it implies a youthful energy that is pretty cool. So maybe... I don't know. I don't know why, but Ridge Dancer just popped into my head. No, hang on. I need to figure out whether you're messing with me or not. Oh, the movie. Yeah, I knew it. Civil War soldier develops a relationship with Lakota Indians. God damn it, Mike. Break Dancer. Dancer break. Um, I think something that implies like has been trying for a while. So I don't know. Ridge Dancer sounded cool because it was one. It sounds cool, but also it's like he's been traversing the mountains by himself, walking the mountain peaks, trying to find this Yeti and kill it. Ridge Searcher, Crest Searcher. Searcher is a little bit not an elegant word per se. I like to go to the thesaurus for scenarios like this. So, I like Dancer. Dancer is cool. I know you're fucking with me, but we're going to go with Dancer, and you're going to have a real impact on this goddamn campaign. But, like, what else? Like, Searcher? Is that even a word? Sure, it's a word. Adventurer, Experimenter, Pathfinder, Pilgrim. Pilgrim is cool. Pioneer, Seeker. Seeker. That's a better word for Searcher, for sure. Dance Seeker. No, he's just looking for a partner. He's like Captain America, just waiting for the right one. Searcher, Dancer. I keep coming back to Ridge Dancer. What do you think? Doesn't matter. I have to wait 20 seconds to hear from you, so we're gonna go with that from now. So his given name is Ridge Dancer, given because he has spent the last year searching the mountain range for this Yeti. Cool. Ridge Dancer. It's almost too cool for a kid that hasn't proven himself yet. But I'd like to think that the adults in the tribe will reward this kid with a cool name for trying really hard. Because I'm sure there are some, shitty teenage louts. Cliff Prancer. That's pretty fucking funny, actually. That's better. Cliff Prancer. Why? Because Cliff Prancer is really fucking good. Yeah, fuck the cool name. Let's give him this name. I like it because it's actually it makes sense as to what he's doing. And I could absolutely see adult Goliath being like, no, this is going to be your name until you find this goddamn Yeti. Private Eye, Cliff Prancer. Like Cliff Prancer. Hi, I'm Cliff Prancer. Oh, God. What have I been suckered into? Jesus. Private Eye, Cliff Prancer. God damn it. God damn it, Miguel. I mean, Vic Miggs. I'm going to have to call you guys by your usernames. Vic Miggs. Vic Miggs? Vike Miggs? It's your name. Okay, cool. So we have Pavu, a.k.a. Cliff Prancer, Private Eye, who's about to get killed by this Yeti. And Cliff Prancer will tell the party that... Okay, so this is where we need to figure out what the actual conflict is for this tribe. Why do they need the party to intervene? I don't know. This is a lot of times where I look to the book for inspiration in terms of what's happening in the world there. So let's go to the book. I think I closed it. So Storm King's Thunder. Also, damn, we've been going for an hour and 45 minutes, everybody. That's crazy. I am not used to talking this much for this long, and I used to do a lot of pitches for Game Cake. This is still here. We can leave it. So the area that they're going to is called the Spine of the World. So let's... Well, you know what? Let's go up to the... How do I go all the way up to the index? There we go. Okay. So we've got a whole list of shit. And this is like genuinely a very cool part of this book is that they took the time to actually detail all of these locations within Storm King Center, which is less work that we have to do, which is nice. How is my voice throat? I don't know. How does it sound to you? I mean, I think I'm doing okay. I can tell that it's a lot of talking. I also think that I'm probably over talking. I'm probably trying to fill dead air because I have this nagging feeling that if things are silent on the stream that it's bad. And maybe that's because there's no game running in the background and because I don't have any music in the background. But if I compare this recording, I bet that I will notice that I am talking more than I need to. Got my water right here. Just drank some. It's very useful. Or also tea with honey. Coats the throat. It's a voice acting trick that I picked up from a documentary. Water. Got it. Yeah, background music. Definitely got that note earlier, and I will work on that. Do I have that in my to-dos for next time? I don't. Background music. Again, if you guys have suggestions for non-copyrighted background music, let me know. Hey, do you want to know a fun fact about the aerodynamics of a lobster? 100%. Lay it on me. What were we looking for? It seems counterintuitive, but protrusion on an I'm going to let you guys talk about the aerodynamics of a lobster in chat. Thank you for joining, Mikey T820. I'm just going to call you Mike. I know who you are. Thank you for coming in and dropping by. And congratulations on partially naming a character in this campaign. Seems counterintuitive, but protrusions on an already streamlined surface increases aerodynamic efficiency. More surface area means less resistance from both water and air, so lobsters' bumps decrease drag. That makes sense. Same for golf balls. Oh. That's interesting. I guess that does make sense. So a wiffle ball probably has less air resistance as well. That doesn't make sense. I mean, a wiffle ball is so light that it's hard to tell, but... And I also wonder if the fact that a wiffle ball has holes mean that there's air running through those holes in a weird way that's also creating drag. I don't know, but now I know. TIL. What the fuck was I trying to find? The spine of the world. Here it is. So this is the region in which... Where is it? Hello. There we go. Wow, that's really not a lot of detail at all. Thanks, book. Sheesh. So it says, mountains of ice and black rock form a skyscraping wall of frigid peaks across the far north, which few creatures have the ability to surmount. Brutally cold winds, avalanches, and icy rifts are the least of a traveler's problems in the spine of the world. Here we go. Tribes of giants. Well, that would make a lot of sense. I don't know why we didn't think of that first. Giant campaign. What's the challenge? Oh, maybe it should be giants. Goblinoids and orcs dwell there, holding every cavern or abandoned dwarven delve, but those claimed by dragons. That's pretty cool. Okay, here's an idea. There is a abandoned dwarven delve beneath the area in which this tribe lives, and there is a tribe of giants, probably frost giants, with orcish slaves, or maybe they're partnering with orcs, or goblinoids, which would be awesome as well. Hobgoblins are very scary when they are properly used tactically. So maybe that's one idea is abandoned dwarven delve. So mines, exposed veins of mithril and gold and silver. Lots of treasure that Goliaths don't give a shit about because that's not important to their society. They hunt. They are slightly nomadic, but they don't care about money. They care about achievements. They care about competition. They care about proving themselves to each other and to their gods, but they don't care about money. So they are ignoring this dwarven delve, but they don't appreciate their they're very prideful, so they don't appreciate these giants and these orcs coming in and being like, we want your fucking money. So that would be pretty cool, and would tie very nicely into the main. See, all we needed was a sentence, and that gives us what we needed. So cool. All right. So let's go back into Notion, and a cow is more aerodynamic than a Jeep Wrangler. I don't believe that. No, I do believe that. A cow is very light. I mean, if you look at them head on, they're actually not very wide, especially the kind that, you find in third world countries sometimes where they're not allowed to eat. I don't know why I'm getting dragged into this. Okay, so Cliff Prancer will tell the party that the tribe is threatened by a cohort of frost giants. I'm only picking frost because they're in the fucking cold, and that makes the most sense. Of frost giants who are... okay, so this actually might be a good opportunity to tie this back into one of the other storylines that exists within Storm King's Thunder. And this is always cool. It's cool to not have your player story be completely divorced from your main story, because everything then feels connected in a way, and that's nice. So we talked about Duke Zalto and how he is the fire giant guy, and they killed him and they're gone. The frost giant leader has his own set of objectives, and honestly, they're probably not too far away from doing to the frost giants what they did to the fire giants, aka going to their base of operations, kicking their butt, and killing their leader. So the frost giant story in a nutshell is that I believe their leader is a guy named Jarl Storvald. And Storvald wants to find an artifact that is well known within D&D lore called the Ring of Winter. So the Ring of Winter is this fabled artifact. It does exist in the world, and it gives the wearer the ability to control winter. So if you can get the Ring of Winter, I don't know if there's more to the story. There might be more to the story, but if you can get the Ring of Winter, essentially you can turn the entire land into a frozen waste in which the frost giants will have dominion naturally because they are very in tune with the elements of cold and ice. We can confirm that. Let's pull up the book. There might be more to it than that. But this is not the first time that they've encountered frost giants in the campaign, so this will hopefully ring some bells for them. And again, just contribute to the feeling of, there is a story here that I could pay attention to. So let's go to the Giant Lords. And this is where they talk about those people. We were talking about this guy right here, Jarl Storvald. Fearsome and pigtails in his beard, whatever those are called. Jarl Storvald. Storvald, a fierce and adventurous frost giant Jarl, very Skyrim there, traveled to the coldest reaches of the Sea of Moving Ice to reclaim Svardborg, the ancient ancestral home of his forebears. He found a nest of blah, 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 got a bunch of white dragons hostage, within a matter of months after, also freed several longships from the ice, sent raiders out. Okay, so he's a Viking. Cool. Has childhood memories of a legend about the ice that never melts, a powerful frost-coated golden ring that can freeze the oceans and blanket the world in mountains of snow. This is what I'm talking about. Small folk know this artifact by another name, the Ring of Winter. So the ring grants immortality to its wearer. Jesus, really? Was last seen in the possession of a human adventurer, guided by magical runes of tracking. Ooh. Storvald plans to find the ring and bring about the Age of Everlasting Ice, thus ensuring his place at the top of the ordning. Cool. Storvald procured a drop of Cimber's blood from a Zentaran wizard named Nilron and used the drop to empower his runes. Unbeknownst to Storvald, the runes are steering the frost giants not to Artus Cimber, but to other closer individuals who carry the Cimber bloodline, Artus's living relatives, most of which whom know nothing but the Ring of Winter's whereabouts. That's fairly one-dimensional. And so I think we should change it, because I would like to think that the frost giants are sort of roaming all over the countryside, trying to find this Ring of Winter. So instead of, hey, I know exactly who has this ring, and I know how to find him exactly, and I'm like, 1 degree of separation away from finding this fucking thing. Instead, I think it'd be cooler if Jarl Storvald knew that the Ring of Winter was probably hidden in ruins somewhere that, I don't know the Ring of Winter's origin story, but we can just say that it probably changed hands many times. I also don't know why this item exists a little bit, because why, like, what is the benefit of creating an Age of Everlasting Ice? Unless you're a frost giant. So, it doesn't say the origins of the artifact, but childhood memories of a legend kind of tells you where it's come from, right? It must be a giant artifact, because otherwise why would he have childhood legends about it? But whatever it is, I'm sure it's changed hands many times. Also, the giants had an empire called Astoria like 1,000 years ago, and now that empire doesn't exist. So we can assume that a lot of the sources of power that the giants had, like the Ring of Winter, probably passed into the hands of small folk who have now inherited this part of the world. So I think it's perfectly reasonable to say that Storvald thinks that the Ring of Winter could be lying in ruins of dwarven fortresses, of elven settlements, of dragon hordes, all that kind of stuff. And therefore thinks that, well, one, every enterprise needs money. So I think we can keep the idea of a mine, a dwarven mine, and we can throw in the additional element of the lieutenant that is managing the frost giants at this stage knows that the Ring of Winter could be there. And so it gives it a little bit more spice in terms of the importance of this venture to the frost giants and to Jarl Storvald in particular. So let's roll with that. But once again, book, very useful. I also don't care too much about treating what's in the book as gospel. I feel that this is inspiration more than anything else. Just, like I said, disparate ideas in our brains coming together to fuse and form new ideas. That's all I really want, is give me some nuggets of stuff that I can use to sort of talk through with myself and with you guys, and to figure out what actually works for the campaign that I'm running. So let's go with that for now, shall we? Threatened by a tribe of frost giants who are trying to excavate or access a dwarven mine. What do you call a network of mines? Like, mine feels small. It feels like a mine shaft. I know it's not, but as a word, it feels small. I'm thinking of something in between your typical mine shaft or mine-like dungeon that's kind of small, and like something halfway between that and Moria. Moria is gigantic, right? It's huge, and it would be very strange if something like that was here, I think. Maybe not, but something in between that. And I wouldn't call it a mine, although I know Gimli goes, a mine! It's not a mine. It's something much more than that. It's a fucking city, also. We'll call it a mine for now. A dwarven mine. Wait, thesaurus. I know this isn't important at all to the prep or anything like that, but I just want to know. What's in the word for mine? Deposit, supply, field, pit, quarry, reserve, store, abundance, bonanza, excavation. Excavation's bigger. Fount? No. Hoard? No. Load? Okay, maybe. Ore deposit? Oh no, that's much smaller. A vein? Also small. Wellspring, gold mine, treasure trove, trench, treasury. None of this really feels right. Quarry, maybe? But a quarry is an open pit. That's not going to fit. Yeah, let's give up. A mine it is. A dwarven mine that yields both riches, though the Goliaths don't care about this. And it'd be fun also if the Goliaths sort of didn't care to the point where they just didn't even call it by its name. So, it's like the yellow shit, is gold, and mithril is like that shiny crap on the walls or whatever, It at all in minerals and jewels and mithril and gold, but also mines. Deal. Oh, hi, Joe. How's it going? Nice to see you. Dwarven mines. You are correct. Thank you. Also, I want to say that one of the things that I do again, the stream is about being creative with people and trying to, prep D&D together and come up with ideas together. A lot of what I learned about being creative with people, I learned while I was doing it with Mr. Joe Gatling, who is in the chat right now, because we worked together at Disney on a number of games. And probably both inhaled enough whiteboard dust together to fill our lungs with a lot of crap. So Joe's the man. But also has a, but also is looking. Sometimes I'm typing a sentence and then I go off on a rant and then I don't remember like where in the grammatic structure of the sentence I was. Threatened by a cohort for frost giants who are trying to excavate or access dwarven mines that yields both riches, blah, 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 and minerals, but also could be the site of the Ring of Winter, which is awesome, and we're going to emphasize that. Cool. Oh, yes, the Joe Gatling. Indeed. So we've got a hook for this adventure. We've got a young injured Goliath named Cliff Prancer. Poor guy. He's about to get destroyed by a Yeti, and once he is inevitably saved by the party, he will tell them that the tribe is threatened by frost giants who are looking for money and the Ring of Winter. And also, I don't want it to be just frost giants because that would be a little homogenous. It's always really cool when giants are working with another species. So in this case, I think I'm going to have it be orcs. The party hasn't really seen a lot of orcs, but in the lore of this part of the world, orcs have ravaged it over and over and over again, especially when it comes to dwarven settlements. Orcs have raided citadels that the dwarves have had over and over and over again. The War of the Silver Marches was an event that happened where orcs came down swarming from the mountains and took over a bunch of land. So this narratively makes sense within the lore of the world as well. So cohort of frost giants and a tribe of ambitious orcs. And I don't know if we have to really flesh out too much about those orcs. For the most part, they can probably just be, sidekicks to the frost giants. But if they ever decide to interrogate one of these orcs and question their motives, might just make up something on the spot about that. But I think the easy answer is that they know the frost giants are onto something. They know that the frost giants need help, so they're working together for a share of the dough. The frost giants probably haven't told them about the Ring of Winter because evil people keep that shit to themselves. But that pretty easily explains the orcs. So let's see. That's pretty cool. That's a good hook. I think that's a great hook. I think that they will most likely spring for it, and if they don't, that's okay. But that leaves us with just, I think honestly that's enough to prep for that right now, because I doubt that they will get too far past this. That's actually not true. I could easily see them going here and then being like, hey, we need to show them what this tribe actually looks like. So maybe we ought to brainstorm that a little bit. So the tribe, let's talk about that. You know what? I need to reorient these a little bit. This can go here. Sorry, just doing a little housekeeping. The hook, the tribe. Okay, so we'll convert this to... Oh no, I don't want to embed a gist. Stop it. The tribe turn into a heading 2. Okay, great. So the tribe, this is interesting. We've got to come up with the demographics of this tribe, their overall state currently, how well are they doing, and some key figures for this tribe. So we'll list those out. So key NPCs, probably a leader, probably like the elder or a crone or something. We need probably a captain, not captain, they wouldn't be that organized, but like a war chief probably is the better term. And then this is where I don't know enough about his specific backstory, which is to say that if there are any NPCs that he grew up with or that were impactful on him, this would be the place where those guys would come back in. So let's put a to-do list item. This is all just asking this player about stuff. But ask player if there are any significant NPCs in his past that would still... Wow, that's not even how you spell the word that. That would still be with the tribe. And it's actually very likely that there's nobody left because just like him, they got too old and they left, or they died, or they were, excommunicated from the tribe. It's very possible. I question sometimes the practicality of, or like, how realistic the verisimilitude of that particular piece of lore. Like, is it realistic to basically get rid of all your old people? It's a terrible thing to talk about in this current time, so we won't go there, but just know that I think that Goliath shouldn't be doing that. So a war chief would be really significant, especially if, one of the things that this character has developed into is a battle master. Literally, like they are a fighter class battle master. And they are often the one that come up with tactics before a fight, and I could easily see them butting heads with this war chief. And the war chief goes, "No, fuck that. We should do it this way." And Tags Bane comes in and says, "Listen, buddy, I've been around. Okay, you gotta listen to me." So that'll be a pretty cool point of tension with his tribe. Who else do we need to know? Well, obviously, Cliff Prancer / Pavu is important. He probably will be their initial advocate in the tribe just because they saved him, and he's impressionable. Everyone else, I don't know if they need to have a role necessarily unless we come up with one. So key NPCs, we need to figure out who those people are. Probably just names, descriptions. You know what? Actually, I have an NPC table that I will drag in here later when we figure those out. But for the tribe, we also need to figure out demographics, not so much. Obviously, they're all just going to be Goliath. But maybe a better word for it is population. We just really need to know, like, description. So how big is it? How many people are in this tribe? How many are female? How many are male? Maybe not so important, but and then what state are they in? What's their world state? And I think this could be stuff like they are injured because they have been fighting against these frost giants for some time now and not being able to defeat them. They are exhausted. They are hopeless. They are on the verge of extinction. They are any number of scenarios where they need the party's help. So even if you have a war chief who is the stereotypical, is, I don't know, like very arrogant, very headstrong, believes that they know how to do this, they still clearly need the party's help just simply because of the fact that they've been fighting this and there is not an end in sight, and they're just getting beat up. So let's go with that. So world state is they are tired and injured from fighting the giants and orcs. I think also, and I could see this being problematic for a second, and I'll tell you why. But I think also their faith in their war chief might be waning because it's not going well, but for the most part are still fiercely loyal. God damn it, I can't spell. What? I'm having brain farts now. I've been streaming for too long. Loyal to him. One thing I will say about Goliath is that they have a pretty strong moral code. And I think that should be important in this arc. I also think that it would be interesting to have an internal conflict between the leader and the war chief, just because leader's older, maybe like more experienced, maybe one of the few elders that are actually allowed to stay because they're contributing value in some way, and have them be kind of at odds with the war chief about how things should be going. And so maybe when they, again, using the mind, meet Kegsbane, see that he has a military mind, see that he has a good head for tactics, says, maybe we should listen to this guy. And the war chief goes, no, you're muscling into my territory. That's not gonna fly. And that sets up all kinds of cool scenarios where maybe the leader goes, hey, you're not going to be able to get the tribe to do anything without the war chief's blessing in terms of what we do fighting wise. So you need to go and prove yourself to the tribe and prove yourself to the war chief before they'll even let you help them. And I think the cool thing about that is that that's something that a mature person, a mature warrior would understand the need for, is working that political game a little bit, working the loyalties of the soldiers, and not just, what I think a younger warrior would do, which is, fuck this guy, kill the war chief, get him out of the way, do something else, and just pave the way for player action. So, but hey, maybe that's how it goes. And then maybe Nitonus is like, that was disappointing. And there's some consequences down the line for his warlock patron interaction, but maybe not. If you're just tuning in, that might have sounded a little weird, but basically, the wolf that this player, oh my God, I'm not saying this correctly. The backstory of this player is they killed a dire wolf as part of the rite of passage when they were younger. The spirit of that wolf has come back now and decided to be the warlock patron of this character because he went through an arc of improvement from a drunkard that was listless and didn't have a direction to a mature, tactful, tactical fighter, and sort of earned the ability to do magic through the grace of his patron, which is the spirit of this wolf. So that's cool. I like that. And we can talk about sort of has a tense relationship with the war chief because it's not going well for them. Is wise, therefore predisposed to like Kegs and his tactical mind, and encourages him to win over the war chief, thereby granting license to guide the actions or the defense / counterattack of the tribe. Cool. This guy just is like writing himself. He's like arrogant. He is good at his job. He does have, he engenders loyalty from his troops, from his tribe. He's like your stereotypical like military, my way or the highway kind of guy. Oh my God, 2 commas. What are you doing, Ashan? Fuck. Okay. What else would be cool about this guy? How can we... Because he's a pretty stereotypical character. Both of these characters are pretty stereotypical as we've formed them now. I always like to sort of twist those a little bit if I can. Nothing comes to mind yet other than it'd be pretty funny if they were switched. If the war chief was the wise one and the leader was the... That doesn't make sense. We'll see. We'll come back to that. Let's give them names. This is where some of these fucking awesome names can come in. For the war chief, I think some of these names could actually inform his abilities or something very unique about him that is his signature. So Long Leaper is cool. That already sort of tells you a little bit about him. He's got really great athletic ability. He can physically move around very well. Skywatcher sounds like something for the leader for sure. Skywatcher. Steady Hand would be a little on the nose, I think, for a wise leader who is not, what's the word? Just not, always into the military solution. The rest of these sound a little arcane. So Horncarver is pretty cool. Flint Finder. There's got to be more Goliath names too out there. Goliath name generator. Give it to me. I think I also have a generator that I bookmarked. Oops. But it's in my general D&D thing. So let's go look at that. Kassoon.com. I found this recently on Reddit. And I think they have some pretty cool No. This is D&D. Okay, there we go. Generators. Name generators, name generators, name generators. Do we have something here? No. Generators, names. Names. Sweet. Race. Oh, Goliath's not on here. Son of a bitch. Okay, whatever. Goliath name generator. No, what is this? Oh, hey, there we go. Look at that. They have nicknames in the middle. Type. Swiftbreaker. That sounds fucking cool. Acts fast. He breaks open the enemy's skull or their formations or whatever the fuck. Food worker. Oh my god. That's just like your name. Your job. It's just your name. Hi, I'm lunch lady. River warrior. Storm hauler. Ooh, I bring the storm. That's cool. Day speaker. Nope. Okay. So I like Swiftbreaker and I like Storm hauler. Ooh, let's make it a her. That's better. Doesn't change the name at all, but you know what? Swiftbreaker. Reminds me of that novel Stormbreaker. I don't know if you guys ever read it back in the day. Oh, fuck. I like Dawncarver a lot. I know that's in here already. Dawncaller, actually. But Dawncarver is cool because it implies like a tactical a tactical sort of lean where maybe this character loves to do like night assaults. So they, or like right before the dawn, they like to attack. Dawncarver. Let's do it. Go back, go back, go back. All right. Dawncarver. Okay. Female, Goliath, age 35, maybe 45. It's better. Heavily scarred. Tough. Okay. This person, Skywatcher, is going to be male Goliath, age 85, wrinkled. I also should probably fill out the actual NPC table for this, but let's quickly just do population description. And actually, I'm going to turn these into toggles as well. And that way we can condense. I gotta say, streaming for 3 hours is really fucking hard. Or at least something I'm not used to. Why is it not working? There we go. Okay, cool. Detective Don Carver. Why? Are you trying to tell me that you and I should play a film noir, like a noir campaign that's all about private eyes and detectives that are just puns? No, don't stop. Definitely don't stop. That's the content that I need, you know? I'm talking so seriously about fucking Goliath tribes and shit on the internet. I think a little bit of Don Carver is what we need. Definitely don't stop. Don Carver. God damn it. So good. Okay, so population description. I think probably a tribe of like 80, 100-ish. I'll say 80. I don't know. I just pulled that number on my ass. 80 people. It's kind of all that matters, I guess. I don't know what else we need to say about the population other than the size. There's obviously going to be some balance of kids and adults and male, female, and whatever, but it's not really relevant to the story. So let's leave it at that for now. Just good to know the sort of size of it. It would be cool to know where they live. That's important. Population and location description. So they live in the middle of the spine of the world, which is a super cold, high mountain range. And Goliaths are uniquely positioned to live there because they, I think, naturally have resistance to high altitude cold and high altitude breathing difficulties, thinned air, that kind of thing. And then in my head, I was picturing a plateau of some kind. So they live on a plateau atop a low mountain. So there are obviously higher mountains in this crazy range, but they live on a fairly low one, under which resides the Dwarven Mines. Name of the mines, something dwarvish. Let's go to a generator, unless someone's got an idea. Dwarven Town Generator, let's say. You know what? Actually, the Kassoon website probably has good stuff for that. Names. Geography? Oh, no, that's not what I want. Dwarf. That's not what I want either. Towns. Ah, there we go. Random races, DMG races. This is not what I want either. All right. Dwarven Town Generator. Dwarven City Name Generator. Sometimes Google is just the best, you guys. Jesus. Tinbuldar. This is good. Veglodier. I like that. I like that it's simple words, easy to say. I don't love it when fantasy names are super difficult to say. I'm probably going to change a couple letters on this one, but like, what? How the hell do you say any of these? You know? And also, it just makes it so hard to remember. Even this might be a little hard to remember, but that's okay. Under which resides the Dwarven Mines of Venlodier. I'm going to add an I because it's cool. Everything's got 2 I's or 2 A's or whatever. But also helps me emphasize when I read it, it's not just loader, it's Lodier, which is how I think sounds cooler. Venlodier. Cool name. Okay, so we've got a location. We need a name for it. Home. A good name for a Goliath. Well, they call their people by very simple names, English words put together that describe simple concepts. So I would imagine that it wouldn't be too different for their towns. So based on where it is, it's in the spine of the world. They know it's called that probably. Spine and flat. That's how it starts, everybody. Starts really well. Flat spine, flat back. Ooh, I like that. Plateau called flatback. The flatback. And we'll emphasize that. Sometimes I like to give these colors so that they just really strike out at me. Apply that and bold it. Cool. Do the same for these guys. And over here, frost giants and ambitious orcs. Tight. We'll make that a different color because orange seems to be good for names. So we'll make this pink. Enemies. Bad. Red. Okay. All right. So we are half an hour out from the end of our soft opening stream. I also want to, again, thank everybody that has been in the chat as long as you guys have been. I really appreciate it. And let's continue. So I want to just step back real quick, and we've built a lot of really cool stuff. We've built an outline for this tribe, what their current motivations are, their world state. So the important part about this is that there's a hook and there's stuff in the world now. So regardless of what they do when they go there, I can now improvise off of what is here. So it doesn't matter what happens, like now I have a foundation. And that's sometimes the most important thing because you really don't know what your players are going to do. It's just nice to have it there. I think also we need to figure out who this NPC is that is going to like have this mechanical benefit of going here, which is to say that they can enchant things with giant runes. And I think it's funny because normally they're probably just enchanting simple weapons, shields, armor, swords that they've made of stone or whatever basic metals they can sort of get their hands on. But when you combine their enchanting ability with the kind of magic items that the party already has, it'll get epic. So, yeah, this is interesting. I think to keep it simple, we can just have this Skywatcher Elder handle it. So we'll just specify Skywatcher has the ability to enchant items, which is like a long-held secret of these Goliath. Now, there is sort of a story disconnect here, which is that the only exposure that the players have had to these giant runes has been through the sword that the player has, aka, not aka, e.g., i.e., i.e., in other words. They don't, like other creatures in the world, other people don't know about the giant runes unless they're given a mechanism by which they would know them. So it can't be that, like this sword has the unique ability to generate these runes when you kill a giant, and all of a sudden there are these people that have never seen this sword before that know exactly what to do with those runes. That doesn't make any sense. So let's change that lore a little bit so that we can essentially say two options. One is that these Goliaths have found a way to generate runes from frost giants. I don't love that, or from giants in general. I don't love that because, one, it implies a level of sophistication that I don't know if these Goliaths really have. Two, it also implies that, like, they get enough of these, that they've been killing giants for a long time, and I don't know if that makes a lot of sense either. I think what makes more sense is that these giant runes are actually a subspecies of a magical rune system or kind of object, and the giant runes that are being generated from the sword are just a type of that. So what the Skywatcher has the ability to do is to take any runes of this kind, which could be giant runes, but they could also be runes generated elsewhere, and we'll have to come up with that, and can manipulate them into enchantments. So the critical question then would be, where do these runes generally come from? Well, we can take a cue from the fact that they're generated by a magic item when a certain kind of thing is killed. That resonates fairly well with the militant sort of prove myself through, force of might sort of culture that they have. And maybe the enchantment that the player's sword has that generates his runes is the same kind of enchantment that the Skywatcher can put on weapons. So, in other words, the Goliath have been generating runes by killing monsters for years, and they're just not the same kind of runes that you would get from a giant, but they are the same kind of rune. So maybe they're killing manticores, maybe they're killing yetis, maybe they're killing whatever other monsters you can find in the spine of the world. And through these enchanted weapons that they have been generating runes, which can then go and enchant other weapons. So that seems to work fairly well, I think. So let's go with that. All right. So power within runes in general, and I think it would be cool to come up with a nice name for these runes. So what do we want to call them? Maybe we call them runes of power would be an obvious one. Monster runes sounds a little on the nose. What's another name for power? Magical power, specifically arcane runes. That's like way too generic. Power, not ability, not capacity. Yeah, capacity, sure. Runes of energy, runes of force, runes of intensity. And also something simple, because Goliath don't name things in complicated ways. So they wouldn't be like runes of, puissance, whatever the fuck that word is. I think runes of power works. Maybe they call them stones of power. They don't call them runes. Because runes are a character. They're not a stone, necessarily. We only call them giant runes because there are giant runes engraved onto the stones that are generated. So we'll call them stones of power. And we'll seem to be using blue for items, so sure, let's do that. Oh my god, this irritates the shit out of me. There we go. So, not only can they use stones of power to enchant weapons, but also weapons enchanted with stones of power can generate we might be getting into some circular logic here, but weapons enchanted with stones of power can generate more stones of power. That seems like a very circular, like positive feedback loop type of thing that we don't want to create. So, especially because if the party catches wind of this, they'll be like, sweet, enchant all our weapons. We're going to get runes from everything, which would be terrible. Or would it? It may not be. But I like the fact that they're really only getting runes from giants because they have a giant slayer longsword, and that thing has a special enchantment on it. So let's say that he also has the ability to enchant. Let's rename this a little bit to boost the power of, to improve items using the power within Stones of Power. He also has the ability to enchant weapons who generate Stones of Power within on kills. I think I'm not going to necessarily explain this part of it to them, just because it would be cool for them to discover that on their own. Like if they can sort of divine the way that this magic works or ask appropriate questions, then to me that means that they've earned the ability to ask, hey, can we enchant our other weapons so we can make runes out of other shit that we can bring back to you? I think that's fair. But I don't necessarily want to give it to them on a platter. And then the tribe has been generating Stones of Power. Generating also sounds kind of mechanical, and I wonder if there's a better word that they would use to describe what they're doing here. The tribe has been, because for them it's all about earning. It's all about feeling like they've earned the reward fairly. The tribe has been winning Stones of Power from the spirits of monsters. We'll go with that. Winning Stones of Power from the... Fuck! There's a huge problem with this, all of this. Which is that, why would Kegsbane not know about this if he's been doing it forever? Shit. That's a problem. Everybody, we've found a major problem in our narrative. The obvious solution to that problem would be that the Stones of Power thing was a recent discovery. Maybe that's as simple as that. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best. Has discovered the ability to improve items using the power within Stones of Power. Or just using Stones of Power. Recent years. Maybe, this makes sense, it was discovered when he decided to sojourn into the mines, right? Because who knows what kind of cool shit was hidden in there. So decided to sojourn into the mines, into Ven Lodir, and discovered... you can't really discover a scroll or anything arcane, because that really wouldn't fit with the narrative of, hey, we're like a sort of primitive tribe. They wouldn't know how to read arcane scrolls necessarily. A lot of their magic is going to be inherent or in their blood or spiritual or natural. So I don't know what the right mechanism is for him to have this magic, but maybe he just touched one and discovered a temple site where a vision was granted to him. This is just if they ask. It's for flavor more than anything, and for a coherent narrative. I'm going to say this once and never say it again, probably, and they're never going to ask. But we do this for fun, for ourselves as well. Where a vision was granted to him, showing him the promise of these stones and how to acquire them. He also has the ability to enchant weapons to generate Stones of Power on kills. The tribe has been winning Stones of Power from the souls of monsters they slay, of creatures they slay, and using them to give minor enhancements to their own weapons, armor, and magic items. So this doesn't really leave a lot of room for the menu, so to speak. In other words, if they've just been using it to do simple enchantments, it's something that is new to them. they probably wouldn't be able to provide the players with, hey, if you've got 30 of these stones, you can totally come in here and give me, all 30 of those stones, and I can give you some awesome thing. I think instead a better solution would be to say, the Skywatcher will say, I know how to improve things with these stones. I think there is potential for more. I can feel that. If you can bring me more stones, and these giant runes are very powerful, and if you can bring me more stones, then maybe there's something beyond what I've been able to do so far that we can achieve together. And that would be a pretty cool way of saying, hey, bring me more stones at a time, and you can get cooler shit. And sometimes it's also just, I'll just tell the players that, hey, this is how this works. Go get more giant runes, you can get cooler shit. And sometimes I can just give them a menu because game. My favorite saying in the world, because game. Unlike other narrative formats, a lot of times because game is like the best reason for something to happen. Whatever, man, is fun. Sorry about the slam on the desk, by the way. I know I need to get a shock absorber for this guy, so when I type on the keyboard, it doesn't sound quite as... No one's complained about that so far, but I'm assuming that it could be better, and a shock absorber will help handle all of the things that might happen on the desk. So that is on its way from Amazon, and will be here in a month, because fuck. It's the right thing to do, Amazon. I get it, but shit. Prime really isn't what it used to be. Great. So that's the mechanical benefit. We have detailed that. I think that's it, honestly. Like, this is more than enough to do a whole encounter talking to these NPCs. I think probably where this will go is they will come up with a plan to defeat the frost giants. I should probably figure out have some idea of where they're based, so that there's some kind of oh, hey, look, it's Alyssa. Hi, Alyssa. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. How long have you been here? How long have you heard the audio? I'll let you answer that. So should probably have some idea of where these frost giants are based, and also where the orcs are based, so that if they decide, hey, fuck, we're just gonna bull rush this threat, that there's something to improv off of, and it's not just totally weird. Oh, cool. Awesome. So you've heard quite a bit. Great. Yeah, so I think if we can come up with something there, although I think that's also pretty easy to improv, right? Like, they have a camp. It's on another plateau. It's like a mile away. Whatever, we'll figure it out. Most likely this will result in a tactical assault, where they need to go prove themselves to the war chief first. They need to sort of earn the loyalty of the tribe's members, because I think one of the NPCs will probably make it very clear to them that you can't take this on alone. The party might disagree and do it anyway, whatever. But they'll be like, hey, we should do this together, but you need to, like, the leader will say, Skywatcher will say, hey, you can't do this on your own. You need to convince the tribe to follow you, or at least for the war chief to listen to your suggestions. So there's going to be some kind of quest associated with that to earn the war chief's trust. I don't know what that is yet, but that's something we'll have to figure out as well. And then also, what is that actual fight going to look like? What is the map going to look like for the frost giant camp and the orc camp? Are they sharing it? Are they sort of adjacent? Are they coming at it from two different places? Do they deal with them separately? All of that is TBD. So that's something that we can figure out at a later time. I think most likely that will be figured out when they actually get to this. My suspicion is that given where they are now, there's a really good chance they're just going to go right back into Iron Slag and start killing shit. And that's totally fine. But I'm really happy that we have this prepared, because this is great. Okay. So we have some to-dos to ask the player. I'm going to extract these from this note and just put them in a place that's a little bit more visible for me. Honestly, the best place to put it is probably here, because then I'll look at this to-do list and say, cool, this is some stuff I have to do. So before Keg's tribe arc, and this doesn't need to be that. No. There we go. Okay, cool. So you can see that I also have another to-do list for plot Keg story. We checked that off. We did it. Awesome. Okay. So this is great. We now have enough to improv off of for when they go there. And I also have a really good sense of what the general conflict is for Kegs. It's probably also worth thinking about what we've talked about. Just we sort of linearly went through and figured out what made sense for this world location, for this, like, who should the enemy be, like, what can these people offer him. What we haven't really figured out is, where does the character go? How does the character develop from when they start interacting with the tribe to now? I mean, we know that the character Kegsbane has come up from being a young man to being a functional member of the tribe, to being kicked out because he was old, to finding a new place as a warrior and as sort of like a bloodlusty soldier, to being a drunk, to being a where he is now, which is he's like a mature, tactful warrior. I keep saying tactful, I mean tactical warrior, but I think mature is the key word there. And the question is, where does he go from there? How do you develop a character beyond where they are now? And I think that one place he could go is being at peace with his past and just being like, listen, I wasn't good with the tribe, I left, and now I'm back. Maybe not intentionally, maybe I didn't come here with a purpose, but I am glad to have reconciled with my past and know that I have allies in the tribe if I need them, which I think goes back to the thing we were talking about earlier, when you have NPCs that they have a good relationship with. Always really cool to bring them back down the line for some kind of epic battle or to help them with something. You know, this is a tribe full of warriors, full of large physical, metal ass warriors. And so I think that could be useful and very cool. So I'm pretty happy with that as a motivation for him. And hopefully as a player, he picks up on that as well. Who knows? But that's part of the conversation I have to have with the player is, listen, this is what I'm thinking for this arc. I'm not going to tell you how it's going to go. I'm not going to give you spoilers, but I think this is a chance for Kegs to really reconcile with his past. How do you feel about that? Do you want that to happen? Do you not want that to happen? Do you want that to go a certain way or have a certain outcome? And then ask him these specific questions just so that I have the detail from him to be able to run this adventure properly. I'm excited. It's a very, very cool story that we've constructed, and I'm super happy that you guys were here to help me with it. So thanks for giving me all those funky names. Let's jump back into the session guide for a moment, because I want to make sure that before we end tonight, we are actually prepared for the next session. So I think, even though we didn't talk about it, the most likely thing for them to do is to go back into Iron Slag. If that happens, I'm almost entirely prepared for it. I think the one thing that I don't know, I think what happens if they decide to go in and free the slaves, for those of you that are just joining, the sort of recap here is that they are currently, regardless of all the stuff we just talked about with Kegsbane and his Goliath tribe, they are currently in the middle of killing the fire giant leader in this world and trying to thwart all of his plans. And there are a bunch of slaves. They've been successful at that. They've been able to run through that dungeon, destroyed the boss without actually alerting anybody in the dungeon, so they don't know anything's happened. And now they have to decide what to do about all of the slaves that are still in that place. They sent a call for help to the king that originally sent them on the mission. So we have the option of bringing in some militia or army men or warriors from this kingdom to aid in this task, although that sounds kind of difficult to manage. And it would take a long time. Remember that the kingdom is 100 miles away. They took an airship here. So it's not like a practical amount of time that those warriors would be able to get there. So I think generally speaking, the right answer to this is, a response from Adbar, which is the kingdom. Citadel Adbar is the kingdom that they were hired by to go and deal with Iron Slag. Iron Slag being the fire giant forge that they are working through. A response here, first of all, they could just not get a response because they used a crazy mechanic to get a very quick message to Adbar. But I think a response is appropriate, especially because the king and his courtiers or magicians are familiar with the party. So the use of a sending spell isn't out of the realm of possibility and is actually very likely. So let's do this. A sending spell from the court wizard. Let's give him a name. Duplin. I don't know. Just made that shit up. Court wizard. I don't like Duplin. That's dumb. Sounds like a minor character. It is a minor character, but I mean, sounds like a not important person. Vigorek. I can't do this. I got to go to the name generators. Jesus. Yeah. Bomb Todir. That's funny. Borgulier. Some of these fantasy names I really don't. It's just like, you're just putting random letters together, you guys. It's just not even pronounceable. Kigdor. Yeah. I like it. Higdor? That sounds like maybe pronounceable. Hortodir? No, don't love it. I wonder if there's a different race in this generator website that has something a little bit more pronounceable. Borim Thar. Let's just combine this and this. I just pick out the short words, honestly. Borim Thar. Or just Brim. Brim Thar. That's like a cool dwarven wizard name. And we should give him a title because he's a court wizard. So, Arcanist. Always a lovely title. Arcanist Brim Thar. Of King. Oh my god, I can never remember this king's name. I swear to God. Let's look it up. No! Index. Adbar. Where are you at? Where are you at? Citadel Adbar. Here it is. I love that this PDF has links in it. It's fucking awesome. Oh my god, this is very long. Harnoth. King Harnoth. Court. In service of King Harnoth. In service of King Harnoth. And we're going to put quotes around that because he's actually going to say that verbatim. This is Arcanist Brimthar in service of King Harnoth. Or some shit. Scottish accent. I don't know why all my dwarves have to have a Scottish accent, but I suspect that Warcraft is heavily leaning me in that direction. And sometimes it's not always Scottish, but it's Scottish a lot of the time. Ascending spells from the court wizard informs the party that they applaud the assassination is a bad word. What is a good word for killing an enemy? Vanquish the defeat of Duke Zalto. That while they applaud the defeat of, because here's the thing, like they just can't get there fast enough, right? So I think the answer is going to be essentially good job. Do what you can, because an all-out assault on Iron Slag would require an enormous deployment of resources that cannot be done quickly and probably not in the time frame that the party desires. So I think just putting in a call to action for the party that says, listen, deal with it now or be okay with those people being enslaved for a while, and we will deal with it when we can, and leave it up to the party. And I think that's perfectly okay, whichever way they want to go. While they applaud the defeat of Duke Zalto, they mustering a what's a word for just like a company of soldiers? I don't know, a cohort, a legion of soldiers, and traveling to Ironside. I'm sure there's a more military term for traveling, but I don't know what it is. And traveling to Ironslag will take 2 to 3 weeks, and they you know what? I should actually probably write this out, like literally in a note, so that I can just say it verbatim. But also, the sending spell only allows 25 words, I think. So we're just gonna say Arcanist Brimthar here, and I'll say, we applaud your defeat of the Duke. Please do what you can for our people. Please do what you can, if possible. Mustering legion of soldiers to Ironslag will take matter of weeks. How many words is that? Not that it really matters whether the players are going to care, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Ah, fuck, just under 25. You know what? It's fine. They're not going to notice. And if they do, he had a better version of sending spell than you did. I guess in this one, he's not committing to action. He's just saying that that's how long it's going to take. But I do want to tell them that if they do nothing, if they allow the slaves to be enslaved for a little bit longer, someone will come and get them eventually. And so the choice is not, do we leave these slaves here at all? Because that's a pretty hard moral choice to make and will almost certainly result in them going back into Ironslag, which is, you know, it's a choice. I would rather give them the choice of do something for them now or allow them to be saved a little bit later. Still a hard moral choice, knowing that people are enslaved and, you know, for 2 or 3 more weeks, they might be in a hard position, but the party's got some other important shit to do that has world-reaching implications in terms of figuring out this giant threat. So we'll embark immediately just to say, hey, this is... And you know what? We can actually turn this into 2 spells. So 2 sending spells. The first is this. The second is this. To which they can reply. I think this is how the spending spell works, but let me just double check that. D&D Beyond sending. Sending is basically just a spell that allows you to use 25 words to send a message to someone else you know that you're familiar with across the world. You send a short message of 25 words or less. It can answer in a like manner immediately. Right. Cool. So, please do what you can if possible. But know you have done your part. Or King knows you have done your part. So they have the option of just going back to Adbar and claiming their reward and getting out of there and leaving the slaves to Adbar. They have that option. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this is dumb, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Fuck, just 1 over, motherfuckers. You did your part. That's 25. Mustering Legion of Soldiers to Iron Slag will take a matter of weeks. Will embark immediately. This may not be said. They may choose to respond and ask a question, in which case they will do that. Or maybe I'll just have them send them back to back, and then they can send 2 responses. That works for me. So that's the response from Adbar. Great. That should probably happen first. Check. Check to what is Kegsbane's adventure going to be like. Fuck yeah, we figured that out, and that was super fun. Oops. We didn't figure out Beer Run as well. So if they do decide to leave Iron Slag, which is this question here, I think the easy answer is they will go to Beer Run as well, because that is where they were headed before and what they wanted information on anyway. We looked at our map, and Beer Run as well is definitely... I suppose I can look at the map with more detail. So, sorry if I get a little far away from the mic. Okay, so Beer Run as well is right here. Iron Slag is right here. It's pretty much the same distance away from Citadel Adbar. So it is the natural next place to go, especially if they want to eventually go to Great Worm Cavern, which is, I believe, also one of the burial mounds they have to go to. And the Allfather, which is where they go after they've done all the burial mounds. So I think that makes the most sense. If they decide to go do something else, we'll just have to roll with the punches, and that's okay. So for the most part, I think we're actually pretty well prepped for what can happen. The only thing we don't have is Beer Run as well, and that's okay. Beer Run as well is actually very, very simple, and I would feel comfortable improvising that if I could. If they do end up doing that, I will let you guys know. Very quickly, we can go over what that encounter is supposed to look like. And I think this is it. Hey, look at that. It's right there. So Beer Run as well is very simple. It's this mini dungeon that the book writers have introduced, where they have a grove that is sunken underneath the ground in the frozen wastes. And there is a giant artifact buried here, like there are in every other Uthgard burial mounds. And I think, if I remember correctly, there is like a hero who died here, and there's some kind of like spirit or some shit. Biorunna, a barbarian hero, died fighting a demon in his woods, blah, blah, blah. Pool came to be known as Biorunna as well. They found what they thought were Biorunna's bones, which actually belonged to a half-ogre. They buried these bones alongside a relic stolen from their enemies, the giants. Cool. So that really, this is the relic that they're looking for. And a small stand of pine trees called the Sunken Grove grows in the middle of the cavern. So what is the actual challenge here? Oh, I've already highlighted it. So there's an altar. And there's a fossilized horn made from the tusk of a mammoth engraved with the images of giants battling dragons. That's cool. Suggested encounter. Oh, right. So a manticore calls the cavern home, and there's a bunch of warriors that... So this is one of the things that I've done that is a little problematic. It's not that problematic. I've scaled Storm King's Thunder beyond the level range that the book suggests. So the book suggests, I believe, that it goes from level 5 to level 13-ish, maybe 12. And I want Storm Kings to go all the way to 20. I really want to get this campaign all the way to level 20 because so few D&D campaigns get all the way there. And I think it's really, really important that they get to experience what high-level D&D is like. And I, as a DM, want to understand what high-level DMing is like. So it's been really fun. That's why the party's already at level 13. But it does mean that some of these pre-baked encounters that are in the book don't work anymore. So instead of a manticore, maybe it's going to be a young green dragon, honestly. I mean, fuck, I don't even know if a young green dragon is going to be that difficult. It might be an adult green dragon, in which case they can negotiate with it. They can try and kill it. They can ignore it entirely, but they kind of need that relic. So maybe it'll be something more like that. So that's fine with me. What is the challenge rating of a green dragon? Let's look that up. And we're almost done here with this prep. So thank you guys for sticking with me so far, which is great. So let's see. Monsters. We're just looking for a dragon. Filter monsters. Go. Boom. So an adult black dragon is CR 14. That's perfect. So I think forest. What kind of... Oh, look, they have the environment right here. So coastal, no. Hill, no. But you know what we want? I don't know if you guys know this, but in dragon lore, metallic dragons, so copper, brass, bronze, they're good aligned. They're good creatures. The chromatic dragons, which is where Blizzard got their chromatic dragonflight from, they are generally evil. So green, blue, red, black, etc. What core rulebooks are you using besides Storm King's Thunder? So for the most part, it's just the monster manual. It's for all the creatures. Volo's Guide is being used for some of the races, like Goliath as well. But Storm Kings is the only storybook that I'm using. So core rulebooks, no, it's 5e. It's 5e. It's a 5e campaign. I've actually never played 3.5. I would think I would like to at some point try it out because I've heard very good things about it. But I started playing Dungeons and Dragons at like right in the transition from 4th to 5th edition. So it was still D&D Next at the time, which was the playtest version of 5th edition. And then that was the only edition I've ever known. So this is a 5e campaign. And so Player's Handbook, Monster Manual, Dungeon Master's Guide, Volo's Guide, and then we use Xanathars as well. So some of the class options that the players have taken are from Xanathars also. So that's been pretty cool because those are really cool books. So for this dragon, I think, I don't know, man. Like, I think, well, obviously it can't be a good aligned dragon. Or it could, and they just have to negotiate with it. That'd be fucking awesome. But let's have them kill a dragon because that's fucking awesome. So white would make sense. Arctic, boom, done. Adult white dragon. We did it, everybody. And actually, I don't need to cover this now, but I have a really, really cool book called The Monsters Know What They're Doing. And I can't remember who the author is now, but I should look it up for you guys. The Monsters Know What They're Doing. This book is awesome because Keith Amon, I'm just going to say, I don't know how to say his last name, but Keith Amon is an awesome book because instead of just throwing the monster at your players, this book really thinks through how and why a monster would fight. What are their natural advantages? How do they lean in terms of their tactics? Are they aggressive? Are they sneaky? When do they run? When do they not run? What do they care about? What kind of natural advantages can they use both on their bodies? So like a dragon will always be in flight because why not? You can't hit it if you're a melee character. It will always use that. So this book is awesome because it really gives you a lot of cool things to think about as a DM going into the fight. So it's not just I hit you, you hit me, I hit you, you hit me. I use the attacks every once in a while. This will give a lot more flavor and a lot more intrigue, I think, to the fight. So I just thought I'd let you guys know that I love that book and it's super cool. So Adult White Dragon is beer run as well. So we'll just say this. So an Adult White Dragon guards beer run as well. Boom. That's it. I don't need anything more, and I'm totally happy with that. That could have been a whole encounter, but like I said, in Storm Kings, the burial mounds are really just like reasons for them to go around the world, and for me to pepper in player narrative moments in that. So, if we go back and look at that map that's in Storm Kings, it's just a bunch of locations to go around. And in each one of those transits, we can add in really cool story that is specific to our players, specific to their backstories and the narratives that they want to tell. So, Iron Slag Part 2. What happens if they decide... Sorry, hang on. We'll get back to that in a second. Beer runs will encounter. Done. Bio runas well, and just put an Adult White Dragon guards be run as well. Does it have a name? Yeah, I guess so. What's a cool name for an Adult White Dragon? Dragon name generator. Let's do it. Man, these name generators have been super useful tonight. Goldrad. Othos. I like it. Done. Othos, the white. A little on the nose, but I'm okay with it. Dragons, adult white dragons especially, are very stupid. I don't know what their exact intelligence score is, but they're on the more brutal, animalistic beast side of dragons. Whereas contrast that with something like green dragons, which are meant to be very like beguiling and sneaky, and they lie and all that kind of shit. So that's it. It's that simple. We have a really cool dragon fight in B-Run as well. Now, I already had one down here. Now, what happens if they decide to go in and free the slaves for our last to-do item? Honestly, they're just gonna fight. They're gonna have some strategy. Let's see. Okay, thanks. Hit dice for an adult white dragon for me is 18d12 plus 72, average of 189 with an AC of 26 into 10. Yeah, for sure. I think that's right. It's a lot of health. Because these guys are level 13, I'll probably increase it a bunch. But adult white dragon D Beyond. Let's look at what the stats are. It's actually more. 16d12 plus 96, 200 hit points, with an AC of 18. Oh, okay. Sorry, you were telling me about the 3.5e version of an adult white dragon, because I think AC 26 is like an unheard of armor class in 5e. But this is still a pretty tough monster to kill, to be honest. And I'm probably going to have to bump up its hit points just so that it's really scary for a level 13 party. Because there's 5 of them in this party, and again, the challenge rating speaks to, in 5e at least, it speaks to an average fight for 4 characters of that level. So we have 5 characters of that level. That's inherently going to make the power dynamic totally different. But they don't know about my tactics book. They actually do. They gave me that tactics book. I don't know what they were thinking when they gave me that, but they did. And it can be a layer. B-Run as well can be the layer for this white dragon, which I think to me increases his CR by at least 1. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to read this later, but this is very, very cool. If I had more time and I didn't have to go to bed, I would totally walk through this whole tactics with. I would break out the book, and I would talk to you guys about the tactics. I think there's a good chance they're not going to get to B-Run as well, and they're going to go right back into Iron Slag to free the slaves. And if they do that, 1, I'll tell you guys how that goes, and 2, it'll give us an opportunity on Thursday when I stream next to talk about how is this white dragon fight going to go, what are the tactics it's going to use, what is that book that I just showed you going to say about it, and that'll be super fun to talk about. So maybe we can design a map together next time, which is very, very exciting. So that's about it. I think that's all of the prep we need to do for next session, which is happening tomorrow. Again, if you're just tuning in, the whole point of this particular stream is an experiment to see if people want to be creative with me while I'm prepping D&D. I want people to feel like they can come here and just talk about D&D, and they can just be in a creative space. So again, the ethos for this is not a lot of people have the ability to go and be creative with other people. And I want that to happen here. I want us to exchange ideas and to brainstorm and be free with our creativity and inspire each other, and just see if this is a place where whenever I'm streaming, people who are interested in DMing or just interested in D&D in general, interested in being creative with other people, can come and hang out, because a lot of us are working on creative projects alone. And it is a totally different experience when you're working with other people. And I can attest to that because I've had a career as a game designer and I've had the chance to work with some really, really cool people. Yeah, man, absolutely. Thank you for coming. Thank you for following. And I really appreciate you just being here, even if you're catching the end of the stream. Take a look at the streaming schedule. The plan is basically I have a weekly session every Wednesday. And, I'm not going to stream the D&D games. I think a lot of people do that already, and they do a great job at it. This is going to be more about the creative that comes before and after, the prep that goes into preparing a dungeon, a D&D session, and how we can work together to make that really, really cool. So I would love it if you guys join me next time. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff we can make together. This was pretty narrative heavy. There was a little bit of world building in it, and we figured out sort of the next stage of a backstory for, not the backstory, but the next stage of a character arc for one of our players. And that was super exciting to do. So a great first stream for me. And thank you for all the feedback for everyone who's been on stream for a couple hours. So, in times, Super awesome. Thank you for being here. I think that's about it. So schedule, shit, I don't even remember what I put. Thank you, Miguel. I appreciate it. Sorry, not Miguel. VYK Migs. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. Let me look at my own stream to see what I said the schedule was. And it looks like I said... right, so Tuesday nights, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. That's going to be the pre-stream prep. So we're prepping for the session that's going to happen tomorrow. And then Thursday afternoons, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., we'll do a little bit of a debrief. I'll tell you how the session went, how our ideas went, and how the players perceived them. Also, all the crazy shit that happened in the middle that we didn't expect, because that happens all the time. And then we'll start prepping and maybe set some goals up for the next session. And then we'll really flesh that out on the Tuesday night before the session. So again, thank you so much for joining me. This is the first stream. I think I'm going to try and really get a lot of people together, friends and family and other people that, want to support me here. Oh, thank you for pasting that. I appreciate it. I should probably get a bot so that you don't have to do that for me, but I really appreciate you putting that in there. Otherwise, I will see you on Thursday afternoon, and if not, I will see you on Tuesday night, and we will prep together. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Thank you for the notes. I have a lot to work with and a lot of things to improve about the stream. But, I'm just having a good time, and I'm having a good time with you guys, and I hope you come and enjoy being creative with me. So, good night, and I will see you on Thursday. Peace out.